2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have nothing exclusives for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What is the deal, Panther fans? It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. And I got to tell you, Baker Mayfield is going to bleep them up, and that is the Cleveland Browns in Week 1. Controversy strikes the Carolina Panthers as we head into the week, and as they're trimming the fat of this team, as well as making trades. But Baker Mayfield steals the headlines each and every time, just like my co-host often steals the show. Cody Lashney, my wheelman, welcome back.
Tony Dunn, as you already know, there's nowhere I'd rather be on a Tuesday night than sitting here chilling with my boys, man. There's always something to talk about. Football is so close to being here. I can smell it. I can taste it on the tip of my tongue. Panthers football is right around the corner. And, man, do we have a show tonight? Did Baker Mayfield say he was going to F up the Cleveland Browns? Did Cynthia Freeland then try and backtrack all the things that she said? Tony, we have all that. You know, we also have this 53-man roster that we're going to talk about. We're also going to explore, do the Panthers even have a kicker? Our roster says no, but you know what, Tony Dunn, what never fails is we're going to do it with the best Panther fans in all of YouTube. You already know him and love him. It's our man, 89 J Stubbs, Drew, ATX19, Craig Hartner, The Real Zero Chill, Hemlock, J Prey, JD864, Pad 1 Panther, Lynn Leon Hart, White Chocolate Espresso, and the boy Tin Tizzy. Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
Let's roll. Before we get in any further, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to our boy Greg, the stat daddy, the bat daddy. Both of his parents in the hospital having surgeries. Kind of incidentally. How kind of a crazy, I hope he's going to make the show tonight. He said he was going to try to do it. Either way, look, the bat daddy, the stat daddy has done so much for us, just being our buddy, our pal. So thoughts, whatever the right thing to say is, I don't like to say the T and the P unless you're really going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're like, so look, Greg, we love you. We miss you. You're part of the crew. We know we're here behind you. we'll do whatever we can for you. My man CK, the man with the golden pipes, is in the house. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, brother, man. Just listen, we've got so few days left until real NFL football. We are just a few short, a week and a half away from seeing the Carolina Panthers take the field at home, opening up the season in Bank of America against the Cleveland Browns. And Baker's got some shit to say about it. I think that's going to be pretty exciting. Also on the show tonight, we're going to be predicting the season. We're going to be predicting the scores, and we're going to see what Madden predicts the season record is going to be for the Carolina Panthers. So this should be an interesting conversation, and we have other announcements we're going to be, getting to here in just a few minutes. But happy to be here with you boys.
There's so much to talk about. Hopefully I know everybody's concerned about Greg, but we should also be concerned about Cody Lashney, as he's taken a couple of drubbings today when it comes to his favorite players, not around the league. Deonte Brown. I
knew him.
I know. Actually, you didn't. We never got to meet him.
I really didn't. I know.
I mean, we kind of saw him in passing on the street. We said, "Is that Deonte Brown?" No, like, no, don't look at him. Don't look at him. He can't fit through the door. Panthers trim the fat there. But there's all of this stuff to talk about. You will not believe how much there is to talk about tonight. Whether it is, I think top news has to do with Zane Gonzalez's exploding groin. I think that we got to continue to talk. Look, there was a trade. The Panthers continue to have this crazy relationship with the Jacksonville Jaguars every year. Oh, yeah. Now it's like our new AFC love.
That's our feeder team.
Yeah. So we've got that. The Lavis is how do you say his first name?
Laviska Shenault. You better get used to saying that. You might be saying that a lot this year.
He's our little Debo, dude. Or our bigger Debo. We got so much to talk about, and we've got the Panthers and the NFL around the league trimming the roster. But that's not the only thing that you should be trimming, because I got to tell you this. We got a sponsor, baby. Manscaped in the house. The C3 Panthers podcast is brought to you tonight by Manscaped, who is the best in the men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision engineered. Look at this. Bro. Big time. For your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Check it out. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free shipping worldwide if you use our promo code Panthers. That's pretty easy to remember. Panthers at manscaped.com. That's go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code Panthers. And if my math is correct, that's about 12 million balls trimmed. Just like the teams around the league were trimming today. And I got to say this is, look, the C3 Panthers podcast growing. We got sponsors, right? We need y'all's help. If you want to help us grow, you can prevent your junk from getting too much bush growing around it, right? Go to Manscaped, use our promo code. We've got a magic number. We need 8. 8 is the magic number. Let's get it. Go buy your grandpa. Actually, that would be weird.
No,
go buy your women.
Get your grandpa.
Go buy your man. I don't know. Go buy somebody. And I tell you this, the products are incredible. I've had this shirt right here for 3 years. They've sponsored us in the past. The best joint to get when you get that big package is this beautiful. This is my third one. Let
me put you up on screen right quick.
This beautiful leather, nice leather bag, like it's a toiletry bag. Very sophisticated. And one time I used this when I went to Cancun. You get the crop preserver. It's your ball deodorant. You won't chafe. So look, help us grow. Go to manscaped.com, use the promo code Panthers, and we'll continue. Look, I'm going to duck down here so you can see me. I might have to work on these graphics a little bit more. They don't really give us a lot of screen room on Streamlabs, do they?
No.
And you don't have rooms. You don't have room for mistakes when you're trimming your junk. Let me tell you that.
Right.
So which is why, by the way, Tony, which is why you got to give it to your grandpa. Do you know how many nicks he's got on his nutsack right now? Dude. He's been straight raising his sack for this entire time.
Nick. 80 years of nicks.
He needs that lawnmower 4.0, dude.
He's got more nicks than the New York Knickerbockers.
Yep. Exactly.
Anyway, check it out. Cool stuff. Help us grow. There's a way. I mean, I'm telling you, buy a gift for somebody. Use our promo code. It's a way to keep this stuff rolling. Let's jump into the show.
And like my man said, we only need 8, y'all. If we're able to get 8 of these, Manscaped will continue to be a long-term partner of the C3 Panthers podcast. If you want to show some love, definitely hit up our sponsors, y'all.
And look, this is the one cool thing. I will tell you this is the products, they continue to improve them every year.
Yeah.
Like, so I got it the first year they had it. Like, they sponsored us our first year that they came out as a company. Very nice product. They did the second year, they took away the guards. They brought them back. But now this stuff it's just getting cooler. And I tell you, the battery life, anything, it's cool. You like it. Your ladies will love it. Don't be the guy with the afro puff around your junk.
Some fantastic comments, by the way. I saw protect the pigskin. I like that one. That was nice. Shout out to Rich Bowling. But without any further ado, and nothing to it but to do it, let's roll, boys. We have so much to talk about. Let's jump into the big news, man. Scott Fitterer continues to impress by making these trades that really no one kind of saw coming. We had Denzel Mims on the radar. That had been a name that we had been hearing a lot. He also had the Baylor connection to Matt Rule. But yet again, the Panthers continue to feed on the AFC South brother that we have down there, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Laviska Shenault is now a Carolina Panther. So we ended up getting a 2024 sixth round pick, and that was, I believe, for Laviska. And then we traded Daly. Well, this tweet is very confusing. But either way, Laviska Shenault is a Carolina Panther. Didn't have to give up very much to get him. What do you all think of this? I'm in love with this, man. I feel like, and Tony alluded to it, he has the potential to be our very own Deebo Samuel-like player. He has a lot of versatility. He's another one of those running back, wide receiver hybrids. You're going to be able to use him out of the backfield on jet sweeps. But also, he's a well-built young man, 6'1", 227 pounds. This dude is a unit. I can imagine him potentially having a lot of in-cutting routes in the middle of the field. Just daring someone to tackle him in space is going to be a chore. I love this. I think this is a great addition to our offense. And let me tell you, man, if you're a believer in Baker Mayfield, then you should be ecstatic. Because as of right now, Baker has weapons upon weapons upon weapons all around him, from the offensive line to the receivers. I'm excited, man. I think this is a fantastic addition.
3 things stick out to me about this move. Number one, you brought up Deebo Samuel's name. This is a copycat league, right? It's a copycat league, and people have seen the success that that the 49ers had with Deebo. Kind of a Cordero Patterson-like player. On their own, they're probably not a great receiver. On their own, they're probably not a great running back. But their ability to just make plays is what makes them good. I think that this is trying to find kind of a discount Deebo in a way. Part 2, next thing to think about is that Ben McAdoo 2 years ago spent as a quarterbacks coach, was with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that's where Laviska Shenault had his best season, arguably, at least roughly about the same production yardage-wise both season, his rookie and his second and his sophomore season, but 5 touchdowns that rookie season. So I think Ben McAdoo, our offensive coordinator, has an intimate enough relationship or a knowledge, right? Has been there, seen it, and he has some sort of vision that comes with him. The third thing, and I don't know if this is good or bad, last year after the Panthers went 3-0, and they saw that defense really balling out. I think Matt Rule bought into the team as like trying to make a run. And I know, Cody, you have always said that like we don't know who a team is until like week 6. And I think that maybe Matt Rule's excitement was a bit premature last year. The team was like, hey, man, we can do this. And I thought they kind of, I would say, bought into their own hype, but maybe got too excited too quickly. And I wonder, I won't say the Panthers are getting too excited too quickly right now, but look, is there any reason to take your foot off the gas right now? If you're Matt Rule and you're Scott Fitterer, I mean, if you fail this year, Matt Rule arguably is done no matter what. Fitterer could be on the chopping block regardless. I know that people wouldn't want that, but I mean, if you're cleaning house, you clean house maybe. And so load up. I feel like this is a symbol of the Panthers saying, you know what, we're going for broke. And maybe going for broke isn't Super Bowl run, but it is like we're seriously trying to get this. So those are my 3 thoughts about this trade.
CK, before you jump in on this, shout out to 89J Stubbs. We finally have a general manager that turns players getting cut into draft picks. Shout out to 89J Stubbs for the $4.99. CK, jump in, man.
Well, a couple things. Number one, so the Shenault trade is an interesting one. Yes, I think it's more weapons, but I also concern myself with where that fits into this roster, right? Because that means that there is somebody who is going to be inactive on this wide receiver room or not on this team come the beginning of the year, right? And that could be Terrace Marshall, if there's any reality that we believe that he's going to be traded or potentially not on the roster come start of season, or is that mean that somebody like Rashad Higgins is the odd man out? I don't know what that really means, and also if it may not mean anything. It may not mean that anybody's going to be the odd man out, but Shenault is just there as a backup just in case Terrace Marshall does continue to become injury prone. That could be the alternative that they see here is, listen, there's all upside. There's not much downside with this trade. And I think that it's a positive, but at the same time, I also am not super excited about it. Now, the ability to get rid of Dennis Daly and actually get something in return for it, granted, it was a small something. We got the 5th round pick, gave up a 7th round, and got rid of Dennis. So, I mean, I think all in all, you'd probably say we got a 6th round in the grand scheme of things. That was, hey, it's picks. I'm also a little bit concerned that we got rid of Deonte Brown and there was no trade potential for him while he's still in his rookie contract. I thought that would be an option for them to be able to actually make some money or make some moves, or at least the trade. Somebody was going to take the flyer on them, but I don't know. Maybe there's something about that draft class or those Alabama guards.
I think this is a great point brought up by CK is that, wow, the Shenault is exciting to us because we acquired a player, right? And that always, it's kind of like I saw at Salesman, who's a great follow on Twitter, great Panther fan, say this is the time of season when everybody gets released that I say, oh, I'd like to see how he would fit in Carolina, right? So the excitement comes with the injection of just something different, right?
Right.
But the question is what does that tell you about the team and the squad you have at this point? A lot of people brought these questions to light. Why aren't we doing something on the defensive line instead at this point, right? And what is it? And I think what you're bringing up is, what does it tell us about the players on the squad? Is there a concern about them? We saw them potentially interested in Denzel Mims. We've heard Terrace Marshall Jr., a 2nd round draft pick, who is kind of seemingly on the outs with this team, struggling with injury, or at least not necessarily inspiring a lot of confidence going into the season, according to Matt Rule. And then even Joe Person in The Athletic, before the cuts were happening, were saying that like he could be a potential cut. And think about that, a 2nd round pick from last year being cut. It's just kind of insane to even say it. But they clearly wanted to add to this wide receiver room. And particularly it's of interest when so many people, i.e. Cody, one of these cats, I almost called y'all fools, love Shi Smith so much. Shi.
Oh, I'm a fool for Shi Smith, baby. I don't mind telling you.
Terrace Marshall Jr. So, like, what does it tell us about that room when those names are so beloved by kind of the draft darlings, the camp darlings? And then maybe here's the back end to it. Someone put more of a hybrid wide receiver running back than a receiver. But wonder if this is a referendum on Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly could be. And I think that's what people need to understand, too. This is just as much about his ability to run the football. Apparently, he's a really good blocker on the line of scrimmage, too. So this guy is very powerful, and it fits what Ben McAdoo wants to do as a run-first offense, as a tough, hard-nosed, beat 'em up, downhill style offense. I think he's going to fit in perfectly here. And like I said, guys like DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, we have experience with guys that I would consider to be yards after the catch players, meaning get the ball in their hand and let them make magic. They might not be the most dynamo route runners in the world, but they really don't need to be. You scheme them open, and you have to think of all the other weapons that you're going to have to accommodate for now. You have DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey, and now Laviska Shenault in the backfield, Deonte Foreman. Like, we are really loaded with what we can do on offense. And I wanted to bring something up with you boys. A lot of people have been kind of looking at this almost like a referendum on Terrace Marshall, and you sort of mentioned that. I think that they still want to give Terrace Marshall time to see what kind of player he is outside of the hamstring injuries that he has continuously been going through. And
Matt Rule said, I think we got the hamstrings figured out. I was like, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean like that? He doesn't have any? It reminds me of David Geddes. David Geddes was a baller, though, man. That might have put up like 200 yards in a game one time or something crazy like that. But he had 0 hamstrings. We needed like some miraculous surgery from a rhinoceros hamstring to transplant it or something. We just didn't get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I'm hoping that we're able to, continue to hold on to him. I see a lot of people saying trade him. I mean, again, like those later round picks, it's not like they're irrecoupable. We already know Scott Fitterer likes to trade down, and I don't see them as continuing to be a problem going forward. We're going to have our first and second round picks going forward next year, and the year after that. So I think this has been a fantastic addition to our roster, and I'm very impressed with Fitterer, man. I know I've been hard on Rule, but Fitterer continues to impress me.
I don't like the cutting or trading Terrace Marshall Jr. talk at this point. I feel like it's cutting bait with a stock that's down. You're just going to lose money at this point. And what I feel like is the $20 that you're going to keep and your fear of loss. Wouldn't it just be better to kind of hold on to the stock and hope for a comeback at some point, and then completely cut your losses later on if it doesn't work out? So I say, don't panic when the stock market goes down. Maybe we can wait for a rebound. We saw Terrace Marshall Jr. have a good OTA. We've seen him last year in the preseason play pretty well. Right? I mean, unless there's something personal going on with this guy, I say this. So it's just at the very minimum, just stash him and wait.
Yeah, 100%. But hey, listen, I wanted listen. I know we don't want as a show, as individual co-hosts doing this, we don't want to turn this into just about the money. But I will tell you, this past week we've gotten something pretty cool, and that is if you look down at the bottom of your screen, whether you're on a phone or if you're on a phone, you might have to turn your phone vertical, and you'll see a little join button. If you haven't hit that join button, it's $1.99. It helps support the show, something that we're going to use to reinvest into the actual show to make it a better quality, to upgrade equipment, continue to pay for the things that we have to pay for to help keep it going. And, we've got a couple of people that have already done it. We've got 41 new members. And because of that, you guys know the drill. Anytime somebody hits that join button, I go ahead and do a nice little shout out like,
P. James 89 has decided to hit the join button, becoming a C3 superfan, becoming the 41st member of the club. Welcome into the club, James. Thanks again, and much appreciated.
Heck yeah. And by the way, we're going to be doing giveaways too. Tony can elaborate more on that. But we're going to be doing some random giveaways for random people that are subscribed to the channel. A lot of cool stuff we've got coming down the pipe for people that are kind enough to join.
Yeah, definitely. I gotta. I'm gonna wait till the hat gets here to really pub it out because I want to show it to you guys and make sure, like all of this. But bought a nice snapback hat. I like hats, right? And I'm partially waiting. I was like, man, I might just keep this one. I might have to buy a different one. It's so fly. But nah, like we're gonna randomly give that away. We got some cool decals we're gonna give out, and like CK said, this isn't about making money because it's not a tremendous amount, but the small stuff does help. Like my computer's dying. Like I got a new computer coming tomorrow, and not that it was paid for. I mean, paying for it on PayPal credit, but tremendous stuff, and it's awesome to see that support. You get your emojis, you get your cool little loyalty badge. There's ways to donate to the show, but the best way to do it is smash that thumbs up button, subscribe. We kind of struggled to get to the Mount Everest of 4,000 subs. And now I feel like I'm ready to set the sights on 5K and not turn back, man. So a lot of cool stuff happening here at C3. And I think that the excitement is palpable when it comes to the Carolina Panthers. What else we got to talk about, Cody?
Yeah, so next up, and look, this is let me make sure I didn't skip here. Yeah,
Dennis Daly. We traded Dennis Daly away, which you know what? I don't love this. I don't love. I like when I say I don't love this. Is Dennis Daly? I like Dennis Daly as a player. I'm pretty sure it was Dennis Daly who mauled that guy who came after C3 after CMAC in the New England practice. Remember the player that fell over onto a New England woman? They're like, oh my God, she hurt her foot. I think that was Dennis Daly that roughed that dude up and like mauled him. But you guys were talking about how excited you were and how impressed you were with Scott Fitterer. Someone brought this up to me. I thought this was a good point. He's in the end of his rookie deal. And it's like now you could cut him and have nothing for him. You cannot pay him, right? Like, I mean, maybe he's not a plan in the future and he just could be a this year only, or you can acquire some assets going forward, which you can then move around and do things like this Shenault player or whoever else. So incredible stuff there. I mean, not incredible, but like, I like Dennis Daly as a player. I thought he was like one of those guys that was like kind of a dark horse that always played above his station. But Fitterer doing his thing. Fitterer, even this, and before we move on too far to the cuts, is there was a little blowback that came up today about people saying shopping versus fielding calls, Cody, when it comes to Terrace Marshall Jr. and Robbie Anderson. Natalie Miller, who has not only been on the show, but also a support, like a part of the Panthers community and reporters. And we know that she knows someone in some sort of administrative capacity in the NFL. And we're pretty sure that they're involved with the Panthers. So she has some sort of distant sourcing, maybe not direct, but something, it's not made up. And then also someone.
And she's been right a bunch before. Like she was right on Baker. She was right on a lot of different things. Yeah.
And then you also have somebody whose stock is first fan favorite among a lot of people, and that is help me out. Good gosh, why is it coming?
Who do you mean?
Who's the one that runs it? Not Vashti. Sheena. And she's on TV now. She's like, her stock has been soaring for a long time among Panther fans and reporters, like kind of like an independent reporter. They kind of, I won't say had a back and forth, but you could tell that Sheena Quick's comment was in reaction to this tweet.
Yeah.
So Natalie Miller at Nat_NFL draft said, per source, Panthers have fielded trade calls for both Robbie Anderson and Terrace Marshall Jr. You got Sheena's tweet that we can juxtapose it with? Yep. So this comes up. People are starting to talk about it. We know Terrace Marshall Jr.'s name in the headlines. We know Robbie Anderson, who actually seems to be very much part of the Carolina's offensive plan. I cannot believe that that's an active conversation. But then Sheena Quick puts this out not long after, per league source, the Panthers are not shopping Robbie Anderson nor Terrace Marshall Jr. So this kind of back and forth comes today on cut day. And I think that the verbs are important here to look at. Can both of these tweets be true? I think so.
Well, if you're a Fitterer who has famously said in on every deal, I mean, you're going to listen to any call that you receive. It doesn't mean that you're willing to entertain them. But if you have someone who's willing to give you some draft capital, you know, at least see what the deal is. But I agree with you, Tony. And I've said this for a long time now. Regardless of whatever you think about Robbie Anderson, I genuinely feel that we have not seen the best out of him for the same reason why we haven't truly seen the best out of any of our receivers, is because we haven't had the quarterback to be able to reliably get him the ball. So if we do have that in Baker Mayfield, I think Robbie Anderson is going to be a very big part of what we want to do identity-wise as an offense.
What will we be without him? Think about that. Is like, what would the team be without him?
But I think about the play-action pass. That's one of Baker Mayfield's biggest strengths. Threaten to run the ball with Christian McCaffrey or Laviska Shenault and throw it over top to Robbie Anderson going deep. I mean, that's the stuff of dreams, man. If you're building your offense, you have a Robbie Anderson for plays like that. And I really don't think that there's anyone who quite takes the top off of our defense like Robbie Anderson does. DJ, sure, but they also use DJ across the middle a lot because of his yards after catch ability.
It's not that you can't replace a Robbie Anderson entirely, but like, would you upgrade by getting, like, unless it's a player trade where you get a better player, you're downgrading for the moment for something else, you know? And so I think that right now, Robbie Anderson's an asset to this team, unless you're looking long-term vision and you're worried about that contract.
Yep. And by the way, before we go forward, CK, we've got some business to attend to, man. And when I say business, I mean literal business, baby. We got members.
Yes, we do. I would like to personally welcome 3 new members into the C3 Superfan Club that is Skunk 8 Mysteries. Jason and Cody C13. Welcome into the club. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, baby.
Wonderful stuff there. I cannot tell you how impressed I have been by the community that has been developing in the background. And this isn't because of us, man. This is in spite of us, man. The people in the chat, the people that call in. By the way, we have the cat calls line later on tonight. The number's 252-228-5098. We want to hear your thoughts on the Baker Mayfield comments and the story. That I've got so much to talk about. We got to tease that. Baker Mayfield blowing up the internet today. Baker doing Baker things, according to some people. According to my mind, it's a nothing burger story that I'm ready to make into our story for the season that's to come. We've got the cuts. We've got Zane Gonzalez's injury. We've got trades that have been happening. We want your thoughts, fans. 252-228-5098. Thank you so much for stepping on that like button, jumping around on that thumbs up, subscribing, checking us out on Instagram, TikTok. And guess what? The podcast, if you can't watch us on YouTube, you can listen to it on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast. Small things go a long way in this world. Like, share, subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend, as Pat McAfee and them say. What we got next?
Yeah, so
we're talking about the cuts. We're talking about the cuts, right? We got the roster. Pull that roster.
But yeah, let's talk about everyone that made the team. Was
there a surprise? There's only one surprise today.
Well, I mean, let's go ahead and and sparse through this, man. And by the way, I love this comment. Listen to my man, Drew. C3 isn't just a podcast. C3 is a family. You already know, man. Hey, we love everybody that comes through here. This is a fan-first podcast for the fans, by the fans. This is your show. Be a part of it. Yeah, so let's jump into it, boys. Apologies if this is a little bit hard to see.
No, it's perfect. I can read it.
Yeah, what are some of the are there any surprises on this list other than the obvious fact that the Panthers are in desperate need of a field goal kicker?
I have been
which we'll talk about later.
I've been consistent in my position about out of the 10 years, 9 years we've been doing training camps and cuts. The first year we did this podcast was after the season started, like week 3, 4, something like that. I've been consistent in saying this. I can't remember a year where the roster felt as more sound, not sound as in like, oh, it's going to be awesome, but where the position groups and the people who were believed to be the starters and the people we wanted to contribute and where they wanted to contribute was as clear as this. In all of the past camps, we've had some linchpins. We've had Cam Newtons. We've had Luke Kuechly's. We've had Thomas Davis's, guys that we knew were going to be the core of our team, but we were always counting on some weird player like a Russell Shepard to contribute on this team. And like, we think that there's going to be a battle. We need to see one of these safeties step up. I feel like there's only one surprising cut on this entire list is I was surprised Justin Burris was cut. Justin Burris was a player that played for us in the past. He had a relatively decent time with Phil Snow, a little bit of injury. They let walk, but then they go back and signed him this offseason to a inexpensive deal, a veteran presence and safety. That's the only surprise here to me is that who was cut that anybody thought should have made the roster? I think this roster, whether you like it or you dislike it, whether you love it or you don't, I think it was pretty clear that this is what it was going to look like from beginning to end.
Yeah, this is if you had told me to create a 53-man roster, this would have been very similar to what I would have had. The real question becomes who is getting cut when we add the kicker?
Cam Irvin.
You think so? I
don't know. That's a great question. It's who is it? Who would it be?
I mean, when you look at offensive line, right, we have one person listed as center. Really, Pat Elflein can play both. So he would be
only
the backup
8,
center,
right?
So
or 9.
I mean, we have total 9 offensive linemen, which means there's not even a full rotation. We don't even have a first and a second string of every position.
We're thin.
I don't know that we would be able to just cut Cam Irving or any. I mean, outside of maybe going and getting somebody else, like
7 receivers. It's a receiver, dude.
The only one that I could see is McCall, the defensive tackle.
Although he did play very good in that preseason game.
6 defensive tackles is a lot. 7 receivers is a shit ton, bro.
Yeah, but the thing is that they're adding people, and that's 7. I don't understand why. Like at this point, other than fielding for trades, getting rid of Robbie, I could see Robbie being the odd man out here.
What?
I could. I'm not saying he's going to get cut, but I could see him being the odd man out.
It's got to be Shi Smith.
No, Shi Smith had way too good of a camp.
Yeah, Shi Smith is not the odd man out. Well, what the heck is happening here?
Yeah, unless you're going to play him week to week.
Yeah,
unless
he is.
He's going to be a real part about it.
He's going to take reps away from TMJ.
Man, we need him for that return game.
Yeah, I think Shi Smith is. I think you continuously underestimate this man. Hey, but real quick, let me welcome someone into the show. You know him and love him. Oh, look, dude. Literally every time.
It must be a phone thing.
Every time I give a great intro, something happens where they shut off. Let's try again. We'll try it one more time. You know him and love him. The Stat Daddy, the Bat Daddy. Greg, what's going on, brother?
Man, I'm all about messing up your intros, dude. I heard you call me in, and then I hit the wrong button, and it sent me right out, and I was like, damn. Not used to this on the phone. So, what's going on, fellas? Hey, real quick, sorry I'm just joining in, but I just wanted to thank everybody out there who knows what's going on with me, that sent me their love and appreciation. I really do appreciate it. Sorry I couldn't be here right on time, and I may not be here all night, but I'm definitely here for C3 Panther family because, man, this is more than just a podcast. This is life.
Right.
Yeah, man.
That's right, man.
Drew said it earlier. More than a podcast, it's a family.
That's it.
And C3 is about that. Is like we talk to each other. Here's a cool story for you guys. Is I saw that, and Lynn Leonhardt will know this. A guy named Steve Daner. It was his birthday 2 days ago, and he was my first follower on Twitter. I sent him a happy birthday message, and I said, "Bro, you're the first C3 fan. I love you. Happy birthday." Think about that, man. And this is 9-10 years later. I remember it's Chocolate Wonderland and Steve Daner, the one and the two. One, Steve, Chocolate Wonderland 2. And those guys supported us so hard for so long. They still do. More than a podcast, it's a family. Greg, we hope your family is doing well. That's all I can say. Or not all I can say. I could say more, but I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, Greg might be frozen.
He is frozen. He's frozen. You know what? Our love for him froze him in time. All right. He'll be back though. He'll be back. You don't think Shi Smith? What are you going to do? It can't be Andre Roberts. We just went out and got him just specifically for the kickoff game.
I mean, yeah, he's not. Look, listen. Shi Smith has done nothing but impress to the point where I genuinely feel, and I think CK would agree with me, he's going to be on the field a lot this year.
100%.
I mean, he has great speed, great long, downfield ability, yards after the catch. I just really think that Shi Smith has flashed how special he has the potential to be. So I really don't think he's an odd man out. I especially think a lot of those goal line situations, they're going to have a lot of heavy intention. Yeah, man, just because for the speed. You're going to have your big guys, but then you're going to have those guys that can sneak in on those slant routes.
I think Shi is going to – I think he's going to play the Curtis Samuel role in this offense.
Yeah. I thought that was Shenault's job.
Shenault is a big body. I think he could. He's going to be. I think he's going to be a good wide receiver. Honestly, I don't know how much Shenault sees the field this year. If we have the roster we do now without any moves from our wide receivers room, if the wide receiver stays the same way that it is today, Shenault isn't. I don't see him beating out the top 5 guys right now.
I think we make Shenault running back and cut Chuba Hubbard.
I've heard that a couple of times
from this man. I can tell you this: as that guy dropped, Greg, do you remember that pass that Baker threw? Do you remember we were talking a lot of people were talking about the Malik Willis joint, and you said this: you were like, if Chuba catches that, that's the number 1 throw. On the highlight reel.
It's the number 1 throw without him catching that. That throw was right there on the money.
Yeah, it was.
And it's so funny because Baker haters today, I heard them you can tell who are just straight haters. Some people are saying, well, that's just a bad read and a terrible throw and he got lucky. No, it looked like he put it right in the right spot to me. Like in the absolute perfect spot. Maybe it was ill-advised, but if you can pull it off, do it. And he did. Chuba just couldn't complete the whole thing,
Yeah.
But I thought it was amazing.
It's such a good throw. You question if it is a good throw.
Right.
Was it too dangerous but that actually is what the NFL is. It's 3 inches,
The
difference. It's the difference right there. All right, Cody, take us along in this continued discussion about this.
Well, I need you to cover me for 1 sec. But Greg, okay. I don't know if you can even see it. Did you have any surprises on the 53-man roster that you saw, or is this pretty much business as usual?
To be honest with you, man, I've been kind of busy. I haven't really seen the 53-man roster this week, but I'm gonna check it all out.
Can you see?
Yeah. I guess I can zoom in on
it. We've got let's just run through. We'll run through all the positions.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, go ahead.
to help
Right,
the
right.
listeners that can't see it, and as well as anybody else who's just kind of like maybe cleaning their house and watching or listening in the background. Quarterback. I tell you this, as I said earlier, guys, that this entire roster felt as more entrenched, the most entrenched I've felt in the entire time that I've been covering this team as closely as we have through this podcast. And ironically, I say that when at the same time, the biggest question mark came at quarterback, right? Is that this was so entrenched, but we had this big giant battle, at least, or that's what they told us, Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. Matt Corral getting hurt kind of makes it an easier discussion. Matt Corral's moved to injured reserve. You know that Sam Darnold hurt now too. It's Baker Mayfield and PJ Walker, and you got to keep Sam Darnold around. So strangely, what was the most controversial position group makes sense now. Running backs, Christian McCaffrey, Chuba Hubbard, Dante Foreman. I think I'd rather, if anything that bothers me here, I want to just move Foreman's name ahead of Hubbard. I knew this team wasn't going to cut Chuba Hubbard. They like him too much personally to admit they're wrong just yet, unless they really see Laviska Shenault kind of stepping into that role. The wide receiver room is busy, though, guys.
Busy.
It's crowded, and I did a couple of stories in the past about like kind of forecasting these 53-man rosters and looking at the history of the Carolina Panthers. And there's only been like 3 times in 20 years, CK, that we've kept 7 active receivers.
Yeah. And I'd bet that at least both of those times, you said 2 times. How many times?
It's been a while since I did the story, but I want to say there's been 3 times.
So I would guarantee
18 years of checking it out.
The only reason we kept 7 was because one of them was the returner.
Yeah, in the past, actually, the only time we had it is we had real concern, like we didn't know who our number 2 was. It was like a couple of starving times. Oh, baby, going to bed? All right, my little daughter gonna say good night. Good night, baby. It's school night. You know, it's late. Get to bed. But we just didn't know who our receiving core was that year.
Yeah.
And like you said, this year it is a sort of it is like maybe this is because it's special teams. But man, I just have a hard time saying that Higgins isn't gonna be, and let me get this comment down so we can see your beautiful mug. I just have a hard time with what has Higgins done to not deserve making this team?
Oh, he's
that's what I want to know.
Higgins isn't. There's not a chance in hell Higgins isn't on this squad and come this season. I think there's a few people that I think are guaranteed a spot on this 53-man roster come the start of the season. And I think Shenault obviously is going to be on that list since we traded for him. Smith, Shi Smith, Andre Roberts is a question mark, I think. DJ Moore, and Rashard Higgins. I think Terrace Marshall Jr., Andre Roberts, and Robbie Anderson are potential candidates for trade or release before the beginning of the year.
We're going to come back to this comment, and we're going to really have to come back to Donald Duck's comment, how he thinks he found David Tepper's Twitter handle.
I didn't know you were putting that up for a reason. I'll put it back.
My ice up pick is going to be I got a big problem with his comments, dude. A giant problem. And the sycophant color analyst, because we were doing that, the game we were watching along, so we didn't get to listen. I wasn't listening to the audio as closely, but I went back and looked. Not a fan of this comments. And my mom's from Queens, and I'm ready to call this carpetbagger out. Good Lord. All right, so Higgins is maybe here is should we be looking to this tight end room for some changes? It's hard to run with just 3 tight ends. It really is in special packages like field goal kicks and things like this. But could Giovanni Ricci be a
fullback. That's what he was originally.
Yeah,
and that's
but
where I
like,
think
who uses a
his value comes
fullback?
in.
They don't even use that a lot in the NFL anymore.
We did in 2015 whenever we were 15-1.
True. We had Cam though.
But again, that's the offenses of the NFL have adjusted, and I think that's why you're seeing a difference there. Why there's not many fullbacks in the league anymore. But I think that's why there are 4 people in the tight end room because of, number one, I think that Ian Thomas brings a big upside from a pass block.
They love him too.
Run blocking and everything, and pass
they
blocking.
Love him too.
Oh yeah, clearly. I mean, the contract that he was given this offseason alludes to that. I think the tight ends room is pretty set. Outside of maybe getting rid of one and to replace with many of the tight ends that are on the block that are out there now available, from Thaddeus Moss to OJ Howard to Eric Ebron. I mean, there's a lot of people, unless some of these people have been picked up since the cuts happened, which very well could have happened. I haven't been on the Twitter watching that, ticker go across. But, yeah, I mean, I think our tight end room, outside of adding somebody and then releasing one of these 4 guys, I think it's pretty well set.
Guys, we still have a lot to talk about. Controversy strikes Carolina and Cleveland. Cleveland's salty feelings and salty tears. And I got a lot of fans of Cleveland Brown fans that are that we've made friends. Don't worry, we're going to come back to it. Let's tease it out here. We're going to get to this in just a minute. Controversy strikes as Baker Mayfield says, I'm going to bleep them up in week 1. I've got an argument that this is that first of all, I'm behind Baker. He better double down on this. I'm not even as mad at this Cynthia Freeland people as some high horsers have been today. So we get back to these 53-man cuts. Look, the offensive line is not fat enough to make a lot of cuts. This is what you guys brought up earlier is that you could look at a player here that you might not love, but is there really enough fat to trim? We trimmed a lot of fat today when we cut Cody's guy, Deonte Brown. He was fat. He couldn't cut his weight, so he got cut. Look at this, Cody Lashney. I'll give you the mic and kind of trying to segue this so we don't have to go through every single player, every position group. Your thoughts on Deonte Brown and where is the fat on this roster? Because we need a kicker. Someone has to go. Which is not surprising. There's still movement. You just had to get a 53 to appease the league right now. It's not over. You're watching the waivers. You're watching other teams' cuts. We're trying to figure out what our kicking situation is. But if we add a kicker, we got to cut somebody. Julian Stanford and injured reserve. Do you move somebody else over there? I don't know. Is it someone I don't know. Where do you see the fat? And what do you think about your fat boy getting cut?
Well, first, let me say RIP to my man Deonte Brown. Pour a little out for my man. Listen, I feel like he's basically a lot of unrealized potential. I feel like there are some people who play heavier than others, and I think he was naturally a bigger man. And I think that because of that, the Panthers never really gave him an opportunity to be a big, powerful offensive lineman up front. I hope they, is able to make a team. Maybe we'll be able to put him on the practice squad. I'm just hoping that it isn't another Harrison Butker, man. I would hate to see a talented player go out the door, for no reason, essentially. So, yeah, I'm disappointed, man. I felt like Deonte Brown would have been a good player. But I'm telling you, man, Andre Roberts, and I think CK mentioned it earlier, if I'm having to move one player to bring a kicker on the football team, Andre Roberts is probably the odd man out. I don't know who else it would be.
Pro Bowl returner. Wow. Man.
Who else?
I don't know. Let me see. I don't know. Is it somebody in this linebacker group? I don't know. Maybe he was on to something with this defensive tackle group's a little fat.
Stanford, maybe?
It's the defensive tackle group is a little fat, man. You might have to be down to 5 defensive tackles. A defensive tackle doesn't play great on special teams, so they kind of have a limited skill set. They're rotational. You're probably thinking Bravion Roy or McCall or Hoskins. Hoskins, Roy, or
McCall. I see Haber.
I just want to know, is the depth so deep on defensive tackle because you're rotating players out that much? Or is it just for injury purposes? Because that is, I mean, you only play 2, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you should rotate you have a backup 2 in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many are really going to dress a week?
Exactly. And even so, like, does that mean that you're not playing your starting defensive tackles like more than like 60, 70% of the snaps? Because you should be. But if you're not, then I guess you would need that many.
By the way, shout out to Bobby Pay. Says for the $2 that Sullivan might not even dress out. That's a good one too. I mean, there's a few people on this list that are eligible. You know, that don't necessarily mean a ton.
Like Shi Smith.
No, but dude, that's the main piece for offense, baby. That's one of the main pieces.
Man, we could have said that about Demir Bird.
No, you keep on making this comparison. Shi Smith is
balled out in the preseason. How about this? Is Demir Bird put down twice as much productivity and tape than Shi Smith did every single year in preseason? Demir Bird go out there and rock like 2 touchdowns in one game in a preseason, be like blasting mugs, and then you know what? And never play. So, like, I know that we're latching on to him. Y'all love him, but is he really going to dress? Look, I think Terrace Marshall Jr., I will say this, is Terrace Marshall Jr. won't get a hat right now.
Yeah, he's been far more impressive than TMJ. I mean, that's hands down. You know,
we could have said that about Demir Bird or Devin Funchess before, you know. But I would say this, is that Terrace Marshall Jr. is not going to get a hat on Sunday at this point. Shi Smith also might be a guy that would just be one of those dudes that, like, hey, man, we like him a lot, but we're not ready to go with him over this guy.
I disagree.
He's going to have to do this. I mean, all I have to do is this, is I'm going to have to see this, is that we're going to have to see Shi Smith be very successful in the return game, both punt or kickoff, to supersede Andre Roberts. But the good news is we haven't heard Roberts' name in a receiver capacity at all. We have basically just been calling on him to be a return man. So if Shi Smith can show that he can be a consistent return man, either on kickoffs or punts, that would be enough to get him the hat. But I don't know if I've watched these preseason games and go, you know what, I feel great about Shi Smith. I mean, I just don't remember Shi Smith returning. Not that he was bad.
It's not even just the preseason games. It's all throughout training camp. All of our beat reporters have said that Shi Smith continues to make crazy play after crazy play.
But that's receiving capacity. But they're not going to start him over somebody else.
But I think he's done enough to definitely keep his place on the team, though. You know, as a receiver.
Right.
I mean, I feel like he could outperform Higgins if he was given the opportunity. I mean, I think he's as good as, if not better.
Wow.
You know, but I mean, I've got to see it against real competition.
We want to hear your thoughts. We got to trim a player, guys. We're going to add a kicker. Somebody said, I saw a Panther Pickle say we don't have to trim a player, but I can't believe that. I feel like we're going to have to, in some capacity, trim one player to get a kicker. Where is the fat on this roster? Is it defensive tackle? Do you see Shi Smith beating down to Andre Roberts because of his ability to be a receiver and a return man at the same time? Where do you see the fat on this roster? But until we get to that, we got to go to the real red meat, Cody, of the Carolina Panthers discussion, the NFL discussion. And you know what? F all y'all fools on this. Baker Mayfield has brought Carolina to a national stage. This is like, man, I like Baker. You know what? I think, Cody, you were not happy about the Baker because you got another, but is he growing on you a little?
Yeah, I mean, he's starting to grow on me. The only way that he's actually going to truly grow on me is to win football games for the Carolina Panthers.
You said 12
That's
wins,
above
right?
else.
Is 12 wins
he said
still the number?
45 touchdowns.
Yeah, is 12 wins and 45 touchdowns still the number?
Look, I need to see it before I believe it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying, can you give him a little bit, man? Can you give him a little bit?
I mean, yeah, listen, from the very limited sample size that we have seen of him, I have been very impressed with Baker Mayfield. I have no problem saying that.
Look, I'm not going to lie.
Right track.
I thought you had a picture of Trevor Lawrence right there on the screen. I was like, wait a second, what's that?
This is not a good look for Cynthia Freeland. You did not catch her in the best light.
We're going to let everyone decide for themselves, right? Because if you don't know, here's a little backstory. Cynthia Freeland was covering the Bills, and she ended up passing Baker Mayfield, and they had a very curious interaction. Now,
Can we hear the podcast clip? Yeah, or how do you want to handle this? How should we handle it? Should we talk about what happened? Yeah, let's talk about what happened today first.
We're gonna play both of them. This is what Cynthia Freeland originally said on the Around the NFL podcast. And we're going to let everyone decide for themselves what she was actually trying to say. Now, she would go on to clarify her words after this, and we'll play that too.
First time out, we only have 3. You ran into Baker Mayfield, the former Browns quarterback, recently, and I was hoping you could share.
I love the show.
It was after the field, or on the field after the game against the Bills, this preseason game 3, and I walked up to him like, "I'm so excited to see you!" Like, go, I was like, "Kick some butt." I didn't say that word, but kick some butt, kid. Yeah. No, like, go kick some butt, especially week 1. I cannot wait. And he uses some expletives, and I was like, "I just hope you're like." He's like, "I'm gonna bleep them up."
Ooh, that's being the Cleveland Browns, the week 1 opponent of the
week 1
Carolina Panthers.
Depending on who's listening to this, and it's not 4 people, that could be a headline across the nation tomorrow, because he's not said that publicly the same way.
I'm gonna
could be.
Is that what his quote was? Was that what the quote was?
I don't say curse words on air. I don't want to get.
And look, you can tell they're trying to get her to confirm what she just said. Right? They're like, "Oh, wait, Did you really just say that?" Listen to him at the end.
I'm going to them up. Is that what his quote was? Was that what the quote was?
And look, you can tell that
at that point, she realized, she was like, "Oh, shit. I should have said this."
Hey, man, I want a quarterback who thinks really like that, to be honest with you, man. I love that. That's the moxie that I want in my quarterback.
Tell him, Greg.
And hey, real quick before I go even further, let me just say I'm sorry. Baker Mayfield's wife is beautiful, and I didn't mean an insult by saying was that Trevor Lawrence. I more meant to insult.
That's Trevor not his
Lawrence,
wife. No, that was that reporter. That's not.
No, that's Cynthia.
Oh, that was the reporter. Okay, yeah, I got you. Okay, well, his wife is beautiful. I don't want to insult the reporter either. I was just making a joke about Trevor Lawrence because he looks like a female. But
the entire internet.
I picked up on that one, Greg.
Oh, yeah. The entire internet destroyed Cynthia Freeland today. And I think one of the things is this, and I don't know how far you want to go into it before I say my real rant on this.
Well,
Cody.
let's play the other clip.
Because of the backtrack? I don't want to hear the backtrack.
We have to play everything, man. We have to play it. So,
wait. You got to set it up. Before you say that, before you tell people what happened, we got to give them the 12 hours that happened in between. So this Around the NFL podcast comes out. This reporter who runs into Baker Mayfield, who has some sort of past with him, covering him in the past, right? Knows him enough to and she says in that clip, she said, "Are you going to kick some ass this year? Are you going to kick their ass?" And I understand people not remember the exact words you say, but she clearly ushered the conversation in a certain direction, right? And then so she gets this comment back, but then this morning, the entire day was spent with mainstream media. Even look at the name of our podcast. There's a reason we titled it this, right? Because it will get it, that is what people are talking about right now. That we're a small potatoes place that's just trying to find algorithms, and not overly, But you've got Bleacher Report running with this. You've got ESPN running with this. And the whole headline is Baker Mayfield says he's going to F up the Cleveland Browns. And then really the big deal is not just the media, or not the big deal, that's the media handling it, but also the Cleveland fan base, really that side that is anti-Baker, or at least trying to find a different way to move on from Baker, really latched on to this too. So this becomes the juice of the morning, right? I mean, like really from 8 this morning to 1 p.m., this is the story. I'd like to see, I can't wait to see when you play this, if we can see it, look for the timestamp, because she took a drumming from the internet about these comments.
Yeah, so this was at 12:26.
It's noon.
Just by the time that this was posted on Twitter. So that means she had already been on a podcast before that, maybe like 30 minutes to an hour ago. So again, this became a big time story. And then Cynthia Freeland kind of goes on this podcast, the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and then kind of attempts to walk back the things that she said.
Damage control. It's damage control for her and Baker.
She kind of baited him into saying that. So this is her response.
So all that happened was I shouldn't have shared a private conversation, although I stand by the fact that I'm pro Baker. I hope he succeeds. I hope he has a great career in Carolina. I walked up to him after the game. He looked great. Everything was, like he looked like he's happy. He's like having fun, God forbid. And I'm like, I hope you have a great season. I used some expletives like F them up. Like, I know Baker's spicy and, he's been spicy his whole career, but dating back to college. So, I said that, and then he just kind of agreed with me, and we were just, and I said, started off strong, go. And in fairness, like as a woman, especially in the media, like I would like him to beat his old team for a lot of reasons, but not the least of which is it feels like, a poetic story. You see a lot of athletes face their former teams, and you're like, go show them that they were wrong. Like, get out there and be positive. There's nothing negative.
So let me ask you this. I'm a little confused. So is he the one that started the F them up, or did you say F them up and he co-signed it?
I said this entire season, so not just the Browns, the entire season.
Right.
I said, go out there and kick some butt and F them up. Like, meaning everyone. I said, started off strong week 1. I can't wait to see you out there week 1. It was not that nefarious at all. It was all pro Baker. And I shared it because I'm pro Baker, and I want everyone to succeed. I want everyone to get a second chance. I want everyone in life to get a fair shake. It was just, this being blown way out of proportion. And it's frustrating because, it's like people are being like, you're not professional. And you're right. I shouldn't have shared a private conversation, but I was sharing like excitement for a person who is in a much better headspace, who looks great, he's in good form. I chose to share it. I shouldn't have shared it. I shouldn't have shared it.
All right, so that's it. That's the clip. Boys, let's sparse through this. What do we make of this? Did Baker Mayfield, did it ever come out of his mouth, yeah, we're going to fuck them up? Did he actually say that?
Yes.
I don't think he said it about the Browns. I think he did say it, but I don't think he said I don't think he's necessarily the way I look at this is odds are this was a very quick interaction between Cynthia Freeland and Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, when these are all cordial things, when somebody tells you, hey man, go have a fucking day. All right, man, I will, man.
I'm going to go fuck him up.
Yeah, I'm going to go fuck it up, dude. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's kind of what I gather was the way this interaction would have taken place. Again, that's nobody knows what really happened. And honestly, it's irrelevant. The only people blowing this up are the media who are trying to create a story out of it.
Yes. And also other journalists who want to hi-hat life and be like, oh, she's like a piece of shit and this and that. And then Cleveland, there's 3 groups of people that are or maybe 4, because you could throw us in there too, because we're talking about it and putting it in our title. There are the people, maybe we put us in the first group, that are profiteering from the headline, right?
Right.
Then you get the hi-hat journalists or fans that are like, she should have journalistic integrity, right? And then you get the Cleveland Browns butthurt people who are upset about this. I think the backtrack story is the lie. I think that the first story is closer to the truth. I think she went and saw him on the sideline. She bumped in. She was like, man, you looking good. You ready to kick their ass in week 1? I know you've been. And he goes, yeah, I'm going to fuck them up. I don't think, you know what? If I'm Baker Mayfield, I'm going to the podium. This is what I'm asking you, Baker, to do. Go to the podium and double down on this. Triple down on this. Don't cower. Don't be like I'm a gentleman at this point. You didn't say anything that was out of line at all. I say that when we get on the podcast and we go in there, if I was going to be in this, that's what I would say. Right. I don't want no pussy ass quarterback being like, I hope we do our best. I hope Myles Garrett don't fucking beat me in my head. I'm saying this is hell yeah, I'm ready to go do this. I feel good. I look good. And you know what? I'm at the point too. I'm not even hating on Cynthia Freeland. I promise you this. I know people are like, I do believe she could have related this story more diplomatically. I think she could have kind of gotten the essence of the confidence of Baker Mayfield, the excitement to succeed in a different landscape. Those are ultimately the storylines of what that quote means. Not like I hate Cleveland. He loves Cleveland. He's been so nice to those people, man. He's done everything right. I think people like to trash on people because it's easy. And you come out and you say, Cynthia Freeland, you sucked. You're not a good journalist. You're a fucking pretty white girl who's using your pretty white girl stuff to do all your stuff. And I would say this is like, you know what? These are the kind of candid conversations we all want. And the only thing, I mean, I won't say the only thing because I haven't thought about it enough to say the only thing she's guilty of is we just know the internet's going to fucking win and twist. So like there is really, that's the whole reason she shouldn't have said it because she can't control it once it's out there. But we really want that. If Baker Mayfield came on here and we said this, he came on our podcast. And we were like, you ready to go fucking win this game? You want him to be like, well, I hope we do our best and we prepare. Nah, I'd be like this. I'm in Carolina ready to win for you fans. Let's fuck these bitches up. I would be like, yes. So I'm telling you, Baker Mayfield, don't back away. Baker Mayfield, come to Cynthia Freeland's back right now. And y'all people that are like journalistic integrity, fuck y'all, man. There ain't no journalistic integrity, or any time. There never was. Where is it? The New York Times? Nope. Fox News? Nope. Where is the journalistic integrity in the world? This was just an insight into an emotional moment. And I think we as listeners need to extract. It's our job to learn the context of these comments and not let the media brain control us on this shit.
Oh, listen, let me tell you, as someone who has not been a big believer in Baker, if Baker came to the podium and fucking doubled down, like, yeah, man, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. Dude, that would go a long way in showing me that Baker Mayfield is ride or die. And by the way, it's not that I doubt his tenacity. You know, I have no doubt in my mind that he did say something like this. It sounds like a very Baker Mayfield thing to say. I do hope that he doubles down. I know that he's not going to. He's going to continue to go the corporate route and mind his P's and Q's and the media trained response. That's what, he'll do as he continues to try and publicly ingratiate himself to the Panthers fan base. But yeah, I mean, part of the reason why anyone loves Baker Mayfield is because of that right there, man. The bravado. If you don't believe in yourself, then why should I believe in you?
Who else does?
If you don't believe in yourself, then why should I believe in you?
Right.
I do like that about Baker Mayfield. He does have an unparalleled belief in himself. And I'm loving that, man. I'm pulling for dude. I want him to be successful. I want to see him prove it first, but I do like the attitude and the edge that Baker Mayfield brings to the Carolina Panthers. Yeah. And, I don't like to make the Cam Newton comparison because people do it oftentimes for the wrong reasons.
I've been telling you.
But
I've been telling
Baker Mayfield has that same kind of hot button, everything that he says and does is a story type of vibe that Cam Newton have. And I'm not going to lie, man, going from Teddy Bridgewater to Sam Darnold, yeah, it's a breath of fresh air to have a quarterback with some big, hairy-ass balls. Would you consider it Manscaped?
Get in there, CK, because I still got more to say, and I need your opinion. I got to calm down.
Well, let's talk about something real quick. So first and foremost, as you guys know, we said it at the very beginning, we have a brand new sponsor. Support for the C3 Panthers podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. Who is the best men's below the waist grooming? Who is the best in men's below the waist grooming? Their products are precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with the exclusive offer for you: 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code Panthers. Super easy, super simple, especially if you're watching this. Odds are you're a Panthers fan. You can go to manscaped.com. If my math's correct, that's about 12 million balls. Now, a couple things. Number one, I've been a big fan of this myself. I don't have mine in front of me because, it's my personal use and it's in my bathroom. But I will tell you this much. It's incredible. And for somebody who's always been afraid to groom down there because of the nicks and stuff, it's been a lifesaver for me. So it's something I encourage you guys to go check out. They have a lot of things in that performance package, such as ball deodorant, refreshers. If you're having a bad day, you got that swampy stuff down there. You got some stuff to help spruce it up, some refresher, if you will, reviver, I think is what they call it. And that's actually something that has helped me get through the day and not feel so worried about what's going on down below the belt. But yeah, go to manscaped.com, insert that code Panthers, and you'll get that 20% off and free worldwide shipping, as stated before. And again, C3 Panthers podcast tonight brought to you by Manscaped.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Tell us about this. You know what? Baker Mayfield, I bet you he would not be scared to fucking Manscape.
Hey,
what do you think about this? Is this a nothing story, Cody? Is CK? Is this a nothing story? Is this a story? Is this and should Cleveland be all? If for anything, what makes me mad about this is like every time I see these like local Cleveland shows, like that guy just looked like a guy. He didn't know what the hell. He's like, what should we think about this? And then there's I don't know. I have not been. I don't know what we think about the Cleveland media and stuff like that, but
honestly, I think the Cleveland media it's a tough situation. So I have a few buddies that are that live in the Cleveland area, and I don't think anybody knows what their identity is right now. As far as like whether they're like, it's such a divide between it, the polarization that you had with Cam Newton. This is times 1,000. It is an absolute shit show. There's a lot of people out there who are not happy, but there's a lot of so the media, I think, is really trying to find their way about, number one, they're going to be using this as clickbait for the next 30 years, right? Deshaun Watson, he's not even our quarterback anymore, but he was, that's going to be their titles and all their YouTube videos, very similar to our offseason being mainly about Baker. Yeah, that media, even that short clip of maybe I'm confused. Like he was clearly trying to catch. He's basically trying to get some fodder to try to energize this team. And quite honestly, I think they're still going to use this in the locker room for the Cleveland Browns, saying Baker Mayfield thinks he's going to fuck you up. You're going to let him go do that?
What do you think their defense is saying? We heard do you remember a couple of weeks ago that Cleveland, one of the Cleveland podcasts came out and said, we want Myles Garrett to break Baker Mayfield in half. And he goes, oh, I don't really literally mean break him in half. I mean, just get 5 sacks and smash him with my helmet on top of his head. That type of thing. Like, why are you if you are so mad, Cleveland, Yeah, if you're so mad about this, my whole thing is this, is you upset about Baker Mayfield saying this, but the quarterback you gave $243 million guaranteed has 34 civil lawsuits about sexual misconduct against him. And you want to be like, oh, you shouldn't say this. This isn't couth. Fuck that, Baker. Get them bitches. That's what I say. I say go after it, triple down, double down. You should do that, folks. I want a quarterback who will F them up, or at least thinks he can. Mm-hmm. Now, at the end of the day, I think this is a nothing story. And I know people are upset because this woman has a position of influence that she let this go out. But I really think in the context of it, this is just competitive discussion. And I will, at the end of the day, you guys brought it up. I have been saying this about Cam Newton and Baker Mayfield, the comparison. People don't like when I say, oh, Baker Mayfield is like this. They're polarizing. They're like Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Baker Mayfield, Cam Newton. The people believe what they want to believe. Mm-hmm. They already have their beliefs formed. They have their beliefs. If you're a Baker bottom, you're a Baker bottom, except for Cody Lashley. We might make him a Baker bottom. But if you're a Baker bro,
Baker has to be a Baker bottom.
Fine. But like most of the time, people are already that, right? You either loved Obama, you're defending Obama, you're attacking him, regardless of the information. You're defending Donald Trump or you're attacking him, regardless of the evidence. Yeah. You're defending
controversial.
Newton, you're defending Cam Newton, or your mind is already made up. Now you're looking for confirmation evidence. And here's the thing, is that ultimately this is that people are going to try to come out and say, this is, Baker being Baker. He hasn't learned anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what? Those people already believe that without this. Even if you listen to this in the context of the interview, it is nothing. It is in the middle of the conversation of a game afterwards. How are you going to do? We're going to beat that ass. I say that all the time. If I played you in ping pong and I was like, I'm about to beat this ass, bro. I mean, it's not like, come on. This is a nothing story. I think that she's even been dragged through the mud too much. If you are upset by this, you were already upset by it before it even happened. I can understand people saying that she should not have let this out because it was off the record ultimately. There's credence to that, right? Is that now that's why players don't like to address the media, things in like this. But she could have just hid behind the per source crap. She could have just been like, Baker Mayfield is motivated to fuck the Panthers up. Fuck the Browns up per source, and then be like, oh.
Well, but I also think that she mentioned it, in her second response, or maybe even in her first one. She kind of saw him as a friend, and she was speaking to him in a way that wasn't professional, right? That was, hey, Baker, go and fuck him up, like just between two friends. And the Baker's probably, yeah, sure, I'll go fuck him up. I do agree with you. I do think largely it's a non-story. However, let's move past all the bullshit. That is exactly what Baker Mayfield feels. I mean, 100%. It's just like what you said, Tony. This man was the number one pick in the draft, brought the Browns to the playoffs, was a big part of that, and then they ship him out of town for a guy who literally has one of the worst sexual abuse stories in NFL history.
You don't want revenge?
It's going to be a stain on his career, on the Browns. And Baker Mayfield has to be like, you chose that dude over me after everything I did for you? Oh, yeah. If you're a Baker, you better be a man possessed. You better want to go out there and throw 6 touchdown passes like you're fucking Aaron Rodgers and Lambo. Yep. And I hope he does, man. I don't want anyone to think that just because I want Baker Mayfield to earn my trust, that I'm not pulling for him. Of course I'm pulling for the dude, man. I'm definitely pulling for this dude. I want him to be successful. And especially when, stories like this come out, where inevitably I see people that are going to try and paint Baker as one thing, when really it's just a story that's been blown out of proportion. it's like, yeah, of course I'm going to defend that dude, and we all should, because he was definitely taken out of context in what he said and how he said it.
Yeah. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Lynn Leonhardt, I love you so much. And guess what? I'm willing to admit that I am wrong about a lot of things. I am trying to be honest about this. So I'd love to have the opposite opinions on this. This is not an echo chamber. So if you guys want to call in, if you guys have different opinions about this, I'd love to hear them. And it's in a great way. I welcome the conversation. I am just to the point of this is like, I'm tired. Like, is that I think we should have, the only reason you don't say those things is because you're worried about not doing them. Is like, I think Cody just put it fantastic, is whether or not he said it or wanted it to be heard, we know he feels that way.
Yeah.
And the only reason people are diplomatic, right, and political is because either they're worried about it hurting their bottom line, right? We've seen how that happened. We saw Cam Newton say the routes thing to the female reporter and lose the oiksis or whatever whatever the Greek yogurt is. I don't like yogurt that much.
Oikos.
Yeah. So you are diplomatic and political because you're worried about your reputation and your bottom line, or you're worried about being wrong. It's like, this is the thing. If there's anything that is like the backtrack from the Baker side is only this, is what if you don't go out and do this? Then it becomes the snake bite. Did you kick a hornet's nest unnecessarily? But I'm ready for this. I want Baker Mayfield to double down. I understand how this could have been better handled by the reporter, but I think we are trashing people too easy. We should be trashing the media and fans, or at least this is what I'm trashing. I'm not going to tell y'all what to trash. I'm trashing the media and fans for only running with Baker Mayfield, the explicit, and not putting it in any context. Yeah. And number two, for the fans to not go and just listen to the original podcast and make a judgment themselves first before they buy the propaganda of groupthink. So, read this one.
Kevin says Cody's wrong all the time. That's why he has no problem constantly talking, because he's used to it. Hey, see, Kevin's starting to figure me out a little bit. And by the way, I wanted to make sure I didn't miss this. Panther Gal 73 with a $5 super sticker.
Incredible.
We appreciate that love. Thank you so much. And listen, man, before we go any further, I am fully prepared to be shamed if Baker Mayfield balls out and gets to rub my nose in all the hot takes that I'm going to let live on Twitter and on YouTube, by the way. I'm not changing nothing. If Baker balls out, then, hey, your boy jinxed it into reality. But you know what? Since we're on the topic of shame, bro, we've got a lot of viewers in here right now, and they love to hear us talk about Panther football. But you know what? They also love something else. They love to be shamed by the voice that makes them moist. Big Papa, talk to these freaks.
Well, hello there, freaks. You have stumbled upon the C3 Panthers podcast. Once again, if you're new here, this is something we do to shame you freaks when you haven't hit that thumbs up button. You've come in here to hear what's going on with the Carolina Panthers, the roster moves, the fact that the C3 Panthers podcast is going places with sponsors, with everything. But you haven't hit that like button yet. I have one thing to say to all you freaks and legends. Subscriber shame.
Subscriber shame. 261 viewers, 172 thumbs up. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe for every single time the C3 Panthers podcast goes live. Help us dominate that algorithm. We're putting the algorithm in a headlock, giving him a noogie putting his head in the toilet and giving him a swirly to finish it off. That's how we're treating that YouTube algorithm. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Tony Dunn, you have anything else on the agenda you want to get to?
We're about to get to the cat calls. I do want to give a couple of shout outs to people in the chat room. Panther Gal, who gave us the super sticker. First, I would like to thank you, like Cody did, for the donation, your generosity. But you know what Panther Gal does that she comments on our videos. She's involved in the conversation. So thank you so much for your donation, your generosity, but thank you even more for your time and your input. I'd also like to shout all the people that you see that have joined the Superfan membership. You see the green names going across. Look, you guys make this show what it is. I'm telling you. And even look, I want differing perspectives on all of these subjects. I love the fact that half of the time Cody and myself do not agree on half of the world, and we don't want to live in an echo chamber, but the good news is we live in one giant echo chamber of Panther fans, right? Yeah. But we just don't want, I am ready for these differing opinions, these different perspectives, because this is what this show's about. I think of it as this. It's all jumping in. It used to be us jumping in a car, riding to and from the game. Now it's so much of a family, so much of a group. We got to jump on a fucking Amtrak train with all of these people that are supporting and contributing this conversation. And the way you can do it, another way you can do it, is by calling into the show at 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Cody, I think we got to go to the cat calls, my friend.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty you shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like...
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use
This is Jim calling all the way from the West Coast, but I'm calling to give some news from one of my good college buddies. He asked me, "Yo, Jimma, what do you think about Matt Rule possibly coming to Nebraska Cornhuskers for college football if he gets fired mid-season?" And I never thought about it, but apparently Coach Rule is the number one candidate right now for Nebraska for their new head coaching potential. The potential head coaching spot. And it made me wonder, do you guys think Matt Rule might dip out of here? Do you think he might be inclined to leave if we have a shitty start of the season? He's getting paid and his name is all over college football right now. But what made me wonder is I looked at our schedule and it looks pretty brutal. We're going to have a brutal first 10 weeks. And if we don't win against the Giants and the Browns, Matt Rule might be gone by week 8. So we might know where this team is going to go by week 8. And what do you guys think? Do you think it's in Matt Rule's best interest to go to college football? And do you think that's going to have an impact on the season going forward? Me personally, I bet he's ready to dip out because he's getting paid by David Tepper regardless. So if he goes to Nebraska, he's going to pull up with $60 million and, he's going to get all the hype and everyone's going to love him as a college guru. And that might be better for him. And he might be ready to dip out of Charlotte and call it a wrap. But I'm calling ahead of the show, so looking forward to what you guys have to say. Looking forward to the show tonight. I'll catch y'all here in a few hours. But I just wanted to see what y'all had to say about that. Matt Rule possibly going to college football before the end of the NFL season. But yeah, thanks, man. Talk to y'all soon.
Fantastic call. And that's something that we've wondered a lot. What would Matt Rule do? Listen, how about this? I'll do something that a lot of people claim I don't do very much. I'm going to give Matt Rule the benefit of the doubt. I think he wants to win. I don't think Matt Rule is here to be a 3-and-out head coach and, have his legacy, his NFL legacy was in 3 seasons and having the richest owner in the NFL that was willing to do everything for you, that you were not able to have any kind of success. I don't think Matt Rule wants to be a part of that. I think Matt Rule is genuinely trying his best to be a good head coach. Whether or not he's capable remains to be seen. But I do think his heart is in the right place. I think he wants to win football games. However, I will say this. Matt Rule is definitely the kind of person that even if he is to be fired in the NFL, I guarantee you, he is going to have a job in college football, whether it's Nebraska or any of these other schools that are constantly in rotation to be looking for a new head coach. And by the way, they might not be wrong in hiring a freshly fired Matt Rule. I think one of the things that we saw with Urban Meyer is just how different it is to coach a college team as opposed to a professional team. And I think that there are some men that are better built for one rather than the other. I don't know. The jury's still out on Matt Rule. But I do think that he is doing everything in his power to be the best Panthers head coach possible and not looking towards college football.
I think that's a great perspective. Is that, first of all, is like, I think you're right. I mean, who doesn't want to win? Maybe Nick Saban got scared, if anything, and just dipped out when he was with the Dolphins and ran for the hills when it came to Alabama, which is strange because he seems like the most stubborn motherfucker in the world. I do think, look, is like if you're a head coach if you're in the NFL, it's a hard business. It's a hard business in any pro sport. There's a lot of criticism, and it comes on a national stage more so than even in college. And, this is part of the job. He's getting paid for it. He's going to be criticized, and it's about how you respond. Do you respond, resolve, and this and that? You're right, is he will have a job in college regardless of what he does. He could go 0 or whatever. He's going to have a job somewhere, whether the school's high profile or not. And he is not hurt for money, so he could choose his pick of the litter. To me, the interesting question is this: is if things did go bad for the Carolina Panthers, when's the time they part ways with Matt Rule? Is it after the season? Is it halfway through? If you go, what I'm saying, if you start out 2-8, do you throw him to the wayside? I think those are going to be the tougher questions for this Panthers team. But right now I am looking ahead. I told you guys, I put out a video a while back. It's like, it's a forgiveness season for me. Grace with Matt Rule, because he's got a clean slate. He's had one good year, one bad year. Now I think he had one good year and one bad year. So look at this. This is a cool comment. Somebody said JCVGDE, who I'm a big Jean-Claude Van Damme fan, so I love this guy already. And it says, he said, somebody's gaslighting me on Bleacher Report. Man, what did I do? I can't wait. Can you send it to me maybe on Twitter, or tell me how we can get a copy of this screenshot? I can't wait to see, because usually people just hate me in our own comments. Actually, they just love Cody usually. Cody's been taking a drum in lately. I feel like I've been under
Who's drumming me? I'm undefeated. No one's drumming me.
All right. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's go to the next call.
Podcast brothers, how y'all doing? It's G Gavassier. Hey man, they trimming down that roster, man. They trimming it down, man. Hey, to make things quick and short, man. What do you guys think about that signing we did with this kid, Laviska Shenault, the dude out of the Jacksonville Jaguars, a wide receiver? They say that he can play, sweep routes, and he can run the ball like a running back, and you can catch because he's a wide receiver and everything. To me, looks like, I don't know, the Panthers are going to try and use him like they use Deebo Samuel. I don't know, man. Because remember, we tried to do that shit with, with our damn wide receiver, Curtis Samuel, and that shit didn't get us no damn where, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. And I'm going to be the first one to say it. I have a feeling that Chuba Hubbard's going to get damn traded or released or wait or something, man. I don't know, man. Because with the hiring of this cat from Jacksonville, I don't know. I like Deonte Foreman. Don't get it twisted. But Chuba, he looks like the odd man out, man. Give me a take on that, y'all. Keep pounding.
It's hard to make an argument for him at this point. And you know what is that? I guess the argument for him is who else is going to do it? And the team seems to believe in him a lot. He does feels like this is like he just drops all the footballs in the first half and then he gets better in the second half. He always looks like he's about to. I'm always worried, or at least last year, I was always worried he was going to fumble. Like every time he had the ball, I just felt scared. But he does run the ball. Like if he can hold on to it, he's not bad.
Yeah, and like I wish that they would just stop throwing him the ball. Like they would just stop throwing Chuba the ball. That was never.
Well, you know why they do it, Cody? It's because nobody's scared of him. So then he's wide the fuck open, and they're like, oh, I gotta do it. He's wide open.
Yeah, but I mean, really, I do think that if you just ran Chuba into A and B gaps, just run him up the middle, let him be strong and dominant. I really do think that he's a good player. However, I'm going to be real with you, man. I agree. Like, if there's any way possible to get something for Chuba, go ahead and do it now. Like, do it now. Which, by the way, I don't think there is anything that you are going to get for Chuba, considering most running backs can be successful even if they're undrafted. So why would you trade for a drafted one? I don't know. If they can get some value, maybe they should. But, I really do think that Deonte Foreman is really going to be a big part of our rushing game this year and what he is designed to do. He also looked great in preseason. So, especially now with Laviska Shenault, who is really good blocking on the line of scrimmage, this offense is gritty and they are ready to run the football down your fucking throat.
The number is 252-228-5098. I need the chat to help me out. The chat knows everything. What is going on with me on the Bleacher Report? I don't ever go to their website. So, like, where do
I had to guess, there's probably some sort of a screenshot that they took after one of your shorts. If I had to guess, I don't know.
I did write the Mary Cabot lady today. I did write a kind of difficult tweet. I said, I hope Baker Mayfield comes on y'all's back since you love Deshaun Watson coming on your face so much. That was probably a little on the edgy side.
That was a fringe, fringe one, yeah.
Well, I just get so mad that, like, this is what people are upset about, but you don't. It almost seems sleight of hand to me. It's like the whole Baker not being a leader, the whole this and that. It's just so reminiscent to me of what I felt like I saw with Cam so much. And that was just like, oh, he stole a laptop. And you're like, he's 19 years old. And like, he just went and did this press conference and said all the right things when we all wanted this dude to say, well, if Devin Funchess could catch the fucking ball, we wouldn't be in this position. But he always did the right thing. And I feel like Baker has just done. What's the worst he's fucking done? Tell me, what is the worst thing he's done? Plant the flag in Ohio as a college student? Is it saying, like, it's just bantering back and forth with a reporter a little bit too much? Like, what is ultimately deserved him this narrative of being a disruptor, of bakering or whatever it is? And I feel like that's just premeditated. So, like,
do you imagine Baker Mayfield doing that this year, getting up in people's face, saying keep pounding, like actually getting on people and like really being aggressive as the Panthers quarterback? Dude, I'm telling you, this season has the potential to be crazy for us, bro.
Somebody said running from the cops. Like, you know what? The only thing is, I always said, it's like kind of like if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. It felt like back in the 90s, you could run from the cops and potentially get away from it. Now you can't do it because you're just worried they might kill you, especially if you're black. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my thing is, like, I always felt like, do you not secretly root for someone who's like running away from the police a little bit, as long as they didn't do something like ridiculously
My
crazy?
thing is, why did Baker feel like he was fast enough to run away? Like
because
there
you don't
was
think
never
that
going to be a
he's a football player.
scenario.
That cop ain't no football player.
There was
And when
never going to be a scenario where his ass was going to get to stepping fast enough where he would actually be able to get away from the fucking popo, dude. That was the funniest thing to me, that video of his. But hey, he owned up to it, dude. He said I was a young, dumb, drunk idiot who hasn't been that from time to time. You know?
Exactly. And it's just like this whole higher than mighty society of like, oh, we want to tell you how we would do it better as long as you just don't look at our lives. And that whole laptop thing with Cam, like, it's just like so, like, okay, like, I mean, do you know how many things I would love to go back and take in my life? And I don't even have to go back to when I was 19. I could just go back to like that tweet I sent Mary Cabot.
Dude, being a kid and just, dude, I've got stories too, man. Either way, man, like, again, he has that underdog vibe. I was thinking about it today too. My brother was asking me, we were talking about the quarterback position. He's a Saints fan, so he's big into Jameis and hoping that he's going to be good. But we're talking about Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield didn't have a lot of success his first stop in college. He went to Texas Tech, and then Patrick Mahomes came in, and then he was like, all right, I'm going to transfer. And then it was his second team that he had all of his success with the Oklahoma Sooners. So maybe this is the stars aligning. You know, Baker with his second team when he goes off and puts up all the big numbers, but also third-year Matt Rule. Everyone knows the first 2 years of Matt Rule's coaching tenureship, it ain't shit. But that third year, that's supposed to be where Matt Rule turns everything on and the team becomes a contender. So maybe the stars are kind of aligning in that aspect between Baker Mayfield and Matt Rule.
I tell you one thing, CK was, we were brainstorming some ideas about how to grow the podcast. He was talking about other people he knows that are in streaming and successful. And he talked about them reaching out to companies that you could partner with and different things. I say this is we start reaching out to like the American Association of Massage Therapists. If we fuck these Browns up, I think our podcast should be sponsored by the American Association of Massage Therapists as they went and beat down the Browns. We need to do something to that effect. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's go to the next call.
What's up, C3? It's your boy 89J Stubbs. How's it going, man? Just talking about these cuts. Nothing really surprising except for maybe Deonte Brown, but Matt Rule never really liked him, so not surprising, really. I would love for us to address three positions: defensive line or defensive end, more, in that area. I take some defensive tackles too, but we got 6 on the roster, so I don't know. And then quarterback for sure. I think we could grab somebody and also another linebacker because I'm not too sure Shaq's going to be healthy. So that was really it. I like everything that's going on. Hopefully, Baker can do like that fake report and, he can come up. So, all right, guys, have a good night.
Fake report.
Oh, yeah. I mean, go ahead, CK.
I was going to say, he said Baker can do like he did with that fake report and hug him up. Just thought that was funny that he threw in that fake report part of it. Again, I think there's some truth to that, but I agree. I think we all kind of hash this out. I think the roster is not a surprise.
This is a good comment from my boy Kevin. Is every week find something to humiliate an opposing player and just run that promo for some charity. Like, cool. What if we did that? Maybe we should do that. Is all donations made with whatever to the American Massage Therapy Association in week 1, something like that. That'd be
our promo code will not get you anything extra though. Just,
right.
Just so everybody knows. But we don't think about adding another defensive player. This is something that we talked about for a few weeks now. Are we okay with our D line as is? Do we need to go get another another edge guy, another defensive tackle.
We are thin on edge, bro. What is it? Just Haynes and YGM, right? And Brian Burns. Who else?
YGM, Haynes,
Barno,
Amari Barno. Yeah,
God, we are thin. We got 3 defensive ends, and we're not sure about 2 of them.
Let's bring that. So, our defensive ends: Brian Burns, Marquise Haynes, Gross Matos, and Amari Barno. We are not very thick at that position. So, maybe a lot of people, former Clemson player Cleveland Farrell, he was rumored to be cut. A lot of people were like, well, maybe if we cut that, or maybe if they cut him, it would be worth kicking the tires, maybe see if he can set a physical edge. I'm not sure. I really don't know how many moves are out there left to be made right now. I feel like if you really wanted to upgrade your D-line, well, the time to do it was when Homeboy was out to be picked up. Who was the guy that was on Seattle that was going to come here? He was a free agent. I think he went to the Kansas City Chiefs. Chat room will know.
Hold on. We should know his
I hate
name.
when I have brain fart on players that are like right on the tip of my tongue. I don't know. I'll see it in the chat room in a second. That's guy.
You know what is gosh, who was it?
But you know who I'm talking about.
Come on, somebody.
That was, if we wanted to make it Dunlap. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you,
I am
bastard.
stupid. Carlos Dunlap. That was the guy that the Panthers should have signed if we were going to make a legitimate upgrade to the defensive end position. I feel like it's too late now.
All right, the number's 252-228-5098. Here we go with the next call.
What up, T3? J-Issue. I'm not trying to rant so much about Terrence Marshall, but we have to stop holding on to players that's not doing anything for the team. I understand he's young. He's still on his rookie deal. But like I said on the other podcast, that he reminds me of Funches. I mean, it's not a lie. I don't understand why some fans love to hold on to certain players, and I don't like how we don't all agree upon certain players. And then my thing with Robbie Anderson, he's worse than Ted Ginn. Those are my opinions. Yeah, I just don't have time for certain players. I understand their quarterback situation, but at the same time, I just don't. I'm not holding on to players like certain fans. That's just my take on both those wide receivers.
Keep pounding. And yeah, I mean, there is I was kind of having this conversation earlier today on Twitter, CK. Yeah. It's like, if somebody wanted Robbie Anderson, yeah, I think our offense is really going to benefit from having Robbie Anderson, tremendously so. I think him taking the top off of our defense, I think that's going to be a really important part of what we're trying to do. However, Robbie Anderson is not irreplaceable. It's not like we couldn't find another speed receiver to be able to do those same things. And then it gets to a point where what kind of value is too good to turn down? So if they come, if some team comes wanting to give you a 3rd round pick for Robbie Anderson, are you saying yes to that? Because I know a lot of Panther fans probably are.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is right now, I don't know. Number one, we've got to keep in mind whether you like him or you hate him, there is a reality that he is a distraction, right? There's going to be the part of this that comes into play where you've got to start talking about the uncomfortable conversation of him not even wanting Baker Mayfield to be his quarterback, right? You've got to, and you can use his excuse saying, I was just defending my quarterback, whatever it is. I think it was because he wanted Cam Newton. I don't think he wanted anybody else. He wanted Cam Newton to be the quarterback, in my opinion. just based on how he talks so highly of Cam Newton, just based on his time here, even how short it was. I think we're in a weird spot. But yeah, I think Robbie Anderson could very well be the odd man out because of the distraction. Let me rephrase the illusion of distraction that could be Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, you did say that. You did say Robbie Anderson might be the odd man out. Tony, if you get a 3rd round pick for Robbie Anderson, you trading him?
No.
What? Really? For a 3rd round? Why not?
3rd rounders are hard to come by.
Because it's future money and not this year's money. So that if you do that, you're giving up right now.
But if you're getting if you're getting a 3rd round and you're getting rid of his contract, you've got the
1,000 yard. Like that only helps us in the future, though. Like we're already paying the money now.
Not if we trade him.
I don't think we get better by losing Robbie Anderson right now. Maybe in the future if you're thinking long term, but I think those are things you get out of the like when you're done. Like I mean, we're trying to win now. You think Matt Rule ain't trying to win? And I will say this as someone who loves. I mean, as people describe me as a Cam sexual. Can we end the Carolina conversation, please? Please.
They're never truly going to go away. I think we just have to accept that.
I don't want to hear it at all anymore, man. I told you last year I wasn't happy about him coming here. I told you I didn't want him to come in, and it's not because of him. It's because I wanted him to burn out, not fade away type thing with Carolina. He had his I'm back. It may have gone as well as it could with that one glory moment with the I'm back moment last year. I want to say this is like, let's just thank Cam Newton for what he did for us. And in the future, that's it. I love Cam. Thank you, Cam. That's it. The number's 252-228-5098. Are you guys ready to go to the next call?
Let's do it.
Yep.
All right.
Good night to Panther Gal 73. Appreciate you for joining us. Have a great night.
Next call. Here we go.
Hey guys, this is Panther Pickle. Listen, here's what I mean. I think they've already got that planned out. I think that they've already planned because the league rules states that you can't put a guy on short-term IR.
Is that a second call?
Basically, till the 53 has been finalized, or kind of like the next day on Wednesday. So I think that they'll find a kicker, sign him, or claim a kicker, something of that method. Sign him, and then automatically put Cam or put Sam on short-term IR. Now, this will work because, short-term IR, he has to stay on IR for at least 5 to 6 games or 4. Anyway, you have short-term IRs. And then we'll figure out the rest part later on. But I do think that we need a linebacker, maybe one of the hybrid linebackers, because we only have 5 linebackers on the roster. And for that, I would cut Andre Roberts because we've got everybody else that could do returns. We don't really, I don't think, need 5 defensive tackles, but, I'm going to stand by what I said. I don't think if you cut McCall, I don't think he'll make the pass waivers to go on the practice squad, because I think a 3-4 team will see what he can do in the preseasons, and his weight, which is listed at 380 on Panthers.com, and they'll pick him up. But keep pounding. And go Baker Mayfield. He didn't do a damn thing wrong.
380? They should be like that should be just feel weird punching that number in. Imagine saying you're an athlete and not a sumo wrestler and saying I'm 300.
So why did it matter? Why does it matter for Deonte Brown, but it doesn't matter for McCall? What the hell are we talking about here, dude?
Well, I think they would say, wouldn't they say that McCall could just get breathers, and when you're on the offensive line, you need to kind of keep pushing, like we can't sub you in and out and stuff like that.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I think Deonte was in the doghouse for some reason other than again, goes back to, remember what I've said about Matt Rule is that he sees these athletes as what their physicality is, and then he projects them into a spot.
Right.
Brady Christensen can't be a tackle. He's got to be a guard. It almost feels like Deonte Brown was he, and I think you may have said this in the past, Cody, was he a Fitterer pick, not a Rule pick? And then does he not see him translating? The problem with those guys is the big fatties, they have trouble being important on special teams. And it's just hard to just say you're going to play 4 snaps a game.
Can we also just say there's so much that we don't really know?
True.
Right? Can we agree that we don't know what's happening behind the scenes? We don't know what type of work ethic he had, whether or not he fit what the culture was out there, whether he was, he was asked to do something and he just wasn't putting the effort in to make it happen. I mean, those are things that can be true as well. Now, I'm not saying that he's, some lazy fool who's, refusing to lose weight or anything like that. But I think we also got to keep in mind, I don't think Matt Rule would want to kick, somebody to the curb if they were really going to be bringing a potential value to this team, especially on a rookie contract. Now, I know the argument you have, Cody, is that, you never saw what he could do. Well, we never saw what he can do, but Matt Rule may have. He saw him way more often than we did against better players, against our own defense, and maybe he just didn't shine. I think that's fair to say that we just don't know enough to make that assessment to say Matt Rule let him go and that's a failure on his part. I don't know that we can say that until we see him succeed somewhere else.
Yeah, fact of the matter is no one has seen him, so that's relevant. Maybe he just wasn't good. Maybe he wasn't motivated. There's so many things that possibly could be. The only thing that I ask of both of you and to all the 220-something people watching right now, if Deonte Brown does go on to be a good football player for another team, all I ask is that you remember where you heard it first. Right. Your boy. Okay, if he goes on to be another Harrison Butker, that we're like, dude, how did we ever let that guy go? I'm just saying, remember me. I was really high on him. I don't think he got the greatest opportunity. I don't think Matt Rule is good at developing young offensive players. I don't think that's his strong suit. In fact, I think that's one of his weaknesses. But you're right. So ultimately, we would truly never know. All we can do for the young man is just wish him the best and hope that he gets another chance.
And hope he gets an opportunity and we can see what he was capable of on the field. If he never gets a shot, I think we can say that maybe it was him, right?
Boy, if I get to have that told you so moment, I'm going to be fucking insufferable, dude.
Well, the thing is by that point, I think we would, if that is the case, I think there's a pretty good chance that Matt Rule's not here anymore.
I mean, this is the problem. Here's the real problem with it. It's an NFL issue. And this is why everybody continues like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. People want XFL, AFL, whatever the fuck the other things are, developmental football leagues. Because the window after college is so small for success, and there are good players that need time and development and opportunity that just simply and here's the thing is in defensive Rule and the Panthers on this, they just don't have time to invest in this guy, obviously, in their mind. And I promise you, like your draft status, the fact that people are talking about cutting Terrace Marshall Jr. is like blows my mind, because I feel like once you're in the top 3 rounds, like you kind of get a certain protected status. We invested enough in you,
right?
When you're these back end picks, you don't have any of that luxury. There is favoritism in the NFL. I mean, look, it's Chuba Hubbard. Look, there are NFL backs out there. Hell, we had one last year who was better for us. Who was the butcher from the Lions that we got? Who was Amir Abdullah? Yeah, I mean, look,
the butcher. What?
Yeah, Amir Abdullah. The butcher.
I remember now.
He was very good for us. The thing is, this is like, look, there is favoritism in the NFL. And the fact is like you see certain people benefit it. You see Deshaun Watson benefit from it. You see from Chuba Hubbard, in this case, benefit from it. And you see other players not like suffer the wrath of where they just don't have the luxury of that opportunity, the luxury of that grace. And Deonte Brown found himself in that camp. And I know that you have projected him to be good, but this is why I love Damiere Byrd and Cameron Artis-Payne so much, is they actually performed in the small moments they were given.
Oh, like two times in their whole career.
No, they were those people. They were those people that had no luxury. No, they were the people that nobody but I'm telling you.
Butt fumble. That's all, but he had. He had the butt fumble. Bird had the butt fumble.
No, he didn't have a butt fumble. He had the butt touchdown. I was
touchdown, whatever, in the back of the end zone. That was the only play that this man made.
That's actually a great example here. This mug had a butt touchdown, and you're comparing him to a guy who had the butt fumble, which is Zach Sanchez, or not Zach. Who was that?
Mark Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez. No, I'm telling you this. Look, Cody, these people were not supposed to make it in the beginning. They weren't supposed to get the reps. They weren't supposed to get anything. They were Deonte Brown without, they were the same thing. And when they got their opportunity, they actually Cameron Artis-Payne put good tape out there, bro. Damiere Byrd is on. Look, and you want to shit on Damiere Byrd, but I tell you this, he's still in the league, bro. He's still in the league. And all I'm saying is this, is that that's why we call for developmental leagues. That's why we call for this, is because you might not be good enough to make the 53 today, but that doesn't mean that you don't have a spot and an opportunity in a future in the league. And that's what I think Deonte Brown kind of falls into. We just don't have the luxury of putting him on the roster, but that doesn't mean he's a lost hope as a football player.
All right. I hope I'm wrong. I hope you never hear his name ever again.
Oh, baby Bird. Don't forget, Damiere Byrd came on this podcast twice. Love that dude. Good kid, man. Good kid. Fast as a motherfucker. Chirp, chirp, chirp. And dude got more touchdowns in the league than Shi Smith does. 252.
Shi Smith is about to be so much better than Damiere Byrd, dude.
I can't wait. Can't wait. Call me up when he's got more touchdowns than Damiere Byrd. And I'll wait. I don't know. I'll wait.
Well, I'll be calling you in 4 games.
I will say this much. If Damiere Byrd had stayed healthy, I think he would have been a legend in Carolina.
Yeah, but you know what I say about those ifs.
I know.
In the NFL for what he was doing, man, as Damiere Byrd was out there. And I tell you, you want to talk about a guy that plays with no fear. You're talking about a 140-pound-year-old kid going out there and running back a kickoff at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Good God. He plays no fear in that kid. But hit me up. I know. I can't wait. I hope Shi Smith gets more touchdowns than Damiere Byrd. I'll be waiting. The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. It was a game where Damiere Byrd scored 3 touchdowns, 1 game, baby. So let's go. Let's go.
Hey, guys.
Shi Smith.
Bro, make some howl, a.k.a. Joey the Blind Panther.
What up, Joey?
Boy, I've been excited about the Panthers today after I heard that headline about Baker Mayfield saying that he's ready to fuck them up, which I'm so looking forward to using because I know that there's going to be a Browns fan that's going to get on that light rail talking shit. Because there was a Jets fan that did it last year to when me and my girlfriend went, we were on the train. Boy, that girl would not let off of him. That was so funny. My girl not letting off of that dumbass Jets fan who, we still suck. Anyway.
What is Joey talking about?
Yeah, if this is looking kind of sketchy, only on the part of Cynthia Freeland, because, come on. Just say, yeah, I said it. Well, she's probably not going to say that because she works for the NFL or whatever. But yeah, for me, after I heard this, where there's doubts if he actually said that, I hope the fucking hell he said that. Sure as hell do. And you know what? I bet you he did, because that is so Baker Mayfield anyway, for him to say that. And that, honestly, alpha like that, I played hurt. He's thinking I played hurt for them last year, and they go out and get this quarterback, pay him a shit ton of money, and he's like, he's suspended for 11 games for being a little awkward behind closed doors, let's say. Yeah, I'd say that. And also, from now on, CK needs to do the Manscaped reads in his awesome voice that he does for the members and the subscriber shame, which I hit that like button as soon as I get in the door. Anyway, guys. Wow, wow, wow.
Joey's the man.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, but he's got it.
Go ahead. I'm just looking at Jameer.
No. You're good. So CK is definitely going to be doing more Manscaped reads. You'll be seeing a lot of them. By the way, someone asked me when are we getting more emojis. I promise you, I've been working on that. I've been learning how to make emojis. I've been figuring it out, man. They're coming.
I think I added one. Oh, we did add one. So we have right now the Baker, what I call the Baker bottom one, which is the Baker emoji.
And that has caught on, by the way. Baker Mayfield, Baker bottoms. That's us. People are running with Baker bottoms.
Dude, you know what? Somebody, one of the Cleveland fans was upset because I said so. He's like, "Oh, that's how y'all roll. You're gonna get the monkeypox, you Carolina." I laughed. But bro, it's like, look, as I've been married for 22, I'm very comfortable about sexuality. I am not worried about being like, I don't even give a fuck. Like I've told you, Cam sexual. Now I'm Baker bottom. I'm hypersexual, I guess, is what it turns out. The other thing is, so we've got that. We've got the die on the hill emoji, which Cody, look, chat, I'm against Cody on this. Cody wants it to be live on that hill, not die on that hill. I think it's die on the hill because you're going to no matter what. He wants it to be different. So you guys, we've got that one. What's the other one we've got? We've got.
Hold on. Don't disagree. Let me explain myself.
Okay. Yeah.
Live on that hill because, dude, when I believe something so passionately, I'm gonna be undefeated and I'm gonna come out through the other side, dude. Even if I'm on the hill by myself, I will fucking be victorious, man. Live on that hill. It's triumphant.
Oh my God, Joey just slayed the comments, bro. Joey the Blind Panther with the comment of the night. Baker bottom jeans with the coat and the furs at the back. Oh, I love it. So we've got the Baker, we've got the die on the hill, we've got the what was the other one we got? Oh, we got an ice up one.
We have to do a shame emoji, like damn.
Oh, we do got to do a shame.
We have to do a shame.
You could just do my face.
Write some of these. We need to write these down. Any emojis that you want to see, put them in the chat. But also, you can message me at Twitter or on Twitter at Cody Lack. Hey, let me know, man. What kind of emojis are you guys looking to see? Also, we're gonna have badges too. For the amount of time that you've been subscribed to the channel, that badge will update and grow over time. We're going to make some of those as well. So, yeah, man.
And we're giving away stuff. We're going to give, look,
yes.
It's like we had just hit 41, or actually tonight we're probably up to 43 C3 super fans, part of the inner circle. I like to shout you guys out. I put up these little graphics that said thank you, shout out to you. But I bought a fly ass Carolina Panthers hat off of the internet tonight. When it gets here, I want to make sure that it's not too fly that I got to keep it. But I'll give that away. Like we're gonna give away, like just randomly pick people that have joined and hit you guys up. So we've got a lot of cool things coming for those. We also have the one that Greg's daughter drew, which is the Panther on the microphone. And I forget what I titled that emoji. So you guys drop them emojis you super fans in there. We're going to keep coming with it. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's go to the next call.
Hey, this is Big Mike in Lancaster, Ohio. I absolutely love what Baker said, if he did say it. And it's got everybody in Cleveland scared, believe me.
Do you know
the
who this
reporters
is?
on the radio
Mike from the
station,
Friday free for all.
Everybody's behind Baker. Go Baker.
Y'all met your friend last Friday, huh?
This is the conspiracy. This is Area 51, Mike. Do you remember he had like all of these conspiracy theories he was dropping like crazy up in this? Like on the you guys got to go back on the Friday free for all. Big Mike came in, Cleveland fan, and he had the big one was Baker was in cahoots with Odell Beckham Jr. They stole the security footage of all of those plays because they were not broadcast. Remember, like the video that was put out about Odell missing the passes?
Yeah.
Baker missing the passes. He said that's not broadcast footage. That's in-house cameras, secret footage. Him and Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham Jr., Baker Mayfield in cahoots, broke in, and I'm kind of giving a little bit of color to the breaking in part and stealing the footage. But he said Baker, because he loved Odell, helped him get out of Cleveland. It was wild. Remember, what did they start doing, CK? They started doing they did the X-Files whistle on my man. When he was talking. People are going nuts about that, man. Yeah. People are going nuts. But look, Big Mike's right, dude, man. They're scared. Cleveland's scared. You know why they're scared? They're scared they made a mistake. And it's not just Baker. That's the one thing. Moving on from Baker could be one mistake. Deshaun Watson is the bigger mistake in the face.
And by the way, I put a poll in the chat room. Did Baker Mayfield say, I'm going to fuck up the Cleveland Browns? Or was he misquoted? Right now, of course he said it. Fuck him is leading with 64% of the votes. So make your voice heard in our poll.
CK, you're good at this stuff. As Lynn said, is there a way instead of having the auto draft to prepay the membership? And the only thing, Lynn, I would love to I'm willing to do whatever, like help anybody in any way.
Yeah, people are wanting yearly sponsors.
I know. I understand it's not helping when you're helping us. So the only thing is we're kind of limited also by YouTube's platform, like in what they allow. So there's a little bit of. It's not if we could customize, but we can only customize so much, but we'll definitely look in to see if there's ways. And maybe CK can brainstorm with the gifting thing. Maybe could we gift membership to the same person?
I don't know. Honestly, if there's a way to specifically gift it to somebody. It's random gifting. So, like when I go in and basically for those who are interested, if you're interested in knowing, you can gift a membership. If you look down at where you would do the super chat and the super stickers, there's 3 options: one super sticker, one super chat, and one's membership gifting. And you can gift memberships there. As far as being able to pay for a year in advance, I don't think they have that as an option just yet, but those are things that I'm sure YouTube would love to hear about as suggestions to maybe increase.
Yeah, I understand the concern with auto draft. Like I get shit that's like, I don't even know what's auto drafted half the time for my life. NFL just hit me with that, with the Game Pass, which I had the Game Pass, but I don't remember when I signed up for it. I got the Game Pass, guys. That was NFL Plus. I hope it better work better because Game Pass sucked, bro. It was just so glitchy and janky. It was just awful. So I hope they got it. This is like when you're a billionaire, you get to do whatever or a gajillionaire. You can just do whatever. You'd be like, hey, that's what we give you and you'll pay for it. 252-228-5098. Next call.
Yeah, this is me, C-Dog.
C-Dog.
Why Baker Mayfield ain't just keep his fucking mouth shut?
Oh, come on, C-Dog.
Now the Cleveland Browns defense, entire defense, has bulletin board material.
No, let him finish.
For week
This is a
one.
good devil's advocate.
Myles Garrett already wanted to rip Baker Mayfield in half on the football field. But after that comment he made about
we need to go on this.
All that bullshit. Man, the Browns defense, I'm projecting Myles Garrett to have 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles for this game. Myles Garrett might be unblockable. I'm expecting them to move Myles Garrett up and down the fucking defensive line. To find weaknesses in this offensive line. But Baker Mayfield has put a big-ass target on this offensive line for week one with his fucking mouth. Baker Mayfield being Baker Mayfield as usual. A fucking bum. Fuck, man. Look, I know Baker Mayfield lead the league in interceptions since 2018. That's more than Jared Goff and Sam Darnold. Oh, man.
If Sam Darnold was healthy all of his time, he would definitely be in the league.
Hold everybody up. When you come in here, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. You know what I'm saying? These boys be on here every Tuesday, and they be on here every Friday for the free fall. And then they do not the live show, but they do the shows, game day and everything. But make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Y'all fellas keep doing a great job as usual. You know what I'm saying? And everybody keep pounding and have a great night. C-Dog 1983 out of here. And real quick, I gotta give a shout out to goddamn G-Baby, the motherfucking GOAT. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to motherfucking G-Baby, my motherfucking nigga. You know what I'm saying?
I love
everybody have a good night. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding. Hey, man, you remember the Mighty Ducks, how they had the Bash Brothers? To me, that's like the C-Dog and G-Baby, man. They're bros. They're made for one another. But no, I want to go on that real quick. Because I believe, CK, you said it earlier, like inevitably, regardless of whether this is true or if it was bullshit or a miscommunication, you can almost guarantee that someone in the Browns locker room, be it a coach or a player, is going to bring this up and say, oh, Baker said, fuck us. He's going to fuck us up, huh? And you know what? It's those little tidbits that might give a team what it needs to go out and prove a point. My question to both of you and to everyone in the chat, does C-Dog have a point? Now is there a little bit more danger that maybe the Browns and their defense, and not even just their pass rush, think of their DBs as well. Are they now more aggressive to prove something because of this?
I mean, I think, as I mentioned, I think that they're going to try to build this up, right? Not even just the coaching staff, the Cleveland media clearly is going to latch onto this and try to use this as clickbait for the next 2 weeks leading up to that game on the 11th. I don't know how much substance there is to what Baker said, but the unfortunate thing is that this is going to be basically the Bill Belichick moment of being able to just pin the bad articles about their team in the locker room so that they just feel like a sense of like underdog mentality. And I think that they're going to have that play a part. Now, the other thing that sucks about this is if we lose and Baker isn't phenomenal in the game, then everybody's going to blame Baker for firing up the Cleveland Browns. So, I mean, it's a lose-lose situation for Baker right now if it is not a win. Like, if he wins, then this is going to be a moment everybody looks back on and it's just like, this is going to be the moment of the year.
Yeah. Tony, I saw you shaking your head the whole time. Get in on this.
First of all, I'm really surprised C-Dog took this position. I would not have seen this coming. To me, this is a fear position. Like, you're afraid that it's going to backfire on you. I don't believe that this bulletin board material really truly matters a lot in the NFL. And if the only time it probably does matter is when you're the underdog and everybody counts you out. And the coach can just go in there and be like, nobody believes in you, and nobody believes in you, and everybody says you suck, and everybody, but you can punch them in the mouth. I don't think it's like a bulletin board material. Like, I ain't really worried about this extra motivation. I think that there's a lot of pressure on this game, regardless if somebody said something wrong or not, or right or not. At this point, there's a lot of pressure on Baker Mayfield to succeed in himself. Cleveland wants him to fail, as in the organization, the owners, the general manager. I don't even know if the players themselves, though, would have a problem with Baker. Everybody that I've heard, other than Odell Beckham Jr., has liked Baker. People have said even heard Bozeman say, is this the guy that I want to play for in the huddle? And maybe that's because he's his teammate. They asked Myles Garrett about this. It's like, it's like, I don't even really think about that. I think that everybody in the NFL is just so used to everybody talking shit and doing whatever they want. Like, if they hung on to every single thing, it would all be bulletin board material. The only thing I would worry is that maybe it puts a little unnecessary pressure on Baker himself, because if he doesn't do well, then the narrative comes about. Not only do Cleveland fans feel vindicated, but then Panther fans start to question themselves. But I don't think really Myles Garrett or anybody has any hard feelings against Baker Mayfield. And if anything, I think Browns players might be secretly asking, did the organization fuck up by getting Deshaun Watson?
Oh, they're not secretly asking that. They're very verbally and audibly asking that. That isn't a hidden concern among many Browns fans and the media pundits of the organization. I think that I do think that there is going to be, again, whether it works or not is going to be the question. I think that they are 100% going to try to use this to fire up this defense.
Well, I think the defense is going to, I think the NFL is going to use it to flame up the storyline. I mean, obviously, hey, do you really think it's coincidence? Look, the NFL told us that they put the NFL schedule through 1 mazillion iterations each year. You remember like that when they randomize the schedule and they're like, oh, we put it through 10 million times to see what would generate the best schedule. How in 10 million times in 2 consecutive years do you get the Panthers facing off Sam Darnold against his old team, and now Baker Mayfield against, I don't know. I mean, like, it's like Greg in his tinfoil hat would be like, come on, man.
It's a conspiracy.
No, you got to keep in mind when they
came out before the Baker trade.
Well, they did come out before the Baker trade, to be fair, but the part of it that I think is important to realize is that the schedule isn't randomized. It is initially, but they basically what they do.
The schedule, then you got the divisions. I mean, there's factors that are.
But not even just that. They pretty much know who's going to be opponents for each team outside of 2 per year, I think.
But not the week they're going to play. Week 1.
So
come on.
What they do is they put all of these things in this. I guess this computer, it pulls out everything. Like, it gives them the first iteration of the schedule. And then they pick out which games they like and which games they don't. And then they say, I want this to stay here. I want this to stay here. And they run that multiple times until they find out the entire schedule for the entire year. And so they still allow storylines to dictate the schedule. That is not a randomized thing. But they do. That is something that is a part of their process. Is they look at the games and they make a human decision on which ones they like and which ones they don't, and then they move on, and then they let the simulation continue to run again, and understanding that they like this one in this spot and this one in that spot.
I think that the idea is that the fodder, the bulletin board material exists for the NFL machine, not for the Cleveland Browns defense as much, right? Like, as in targeting, like, oh, you got to prove to Baker. Like, no, I mean, the NFL defense wants to kill everybody every week. It doesn't matter. You got to prove it for that. I think the real bulletin board material falls on at least the Cleveland Browns organization at the top when it comes to the GM and the coach. They're the ones that have more investment than this defense. I don't know how a defense who just kind of went out there and at least risked it all for the last 4 years to try to fight for a Baker Mayfield all of a sudden sees him as an enemy. Do you think that if we played Cam Newton the following week, do you think that when we played, how about this, Steve Smith, you remember the blood and guts where Steve Smith wanted retribution against the Carolina Panthers after they cut him? Do you think that the Carolina Panthers defense really just had a personal vendetta to prove that the Panther organization was right? I don't think so. I think they were just going to do their best as much as possible. So I think this is personal maybe for Baker Mayfield. I think it's personal for the Browns organization at the top end, but I don't think the defense is probably going to eyeball this any more than any other game, like a vendetta. So I'm a little miffed that C-Dog is kind of like stepping back and like, oh, we got to worry about this. I say, fuck it. Let's throw our shit.
No, can I say this? People say that I'm a Baker Mayfield hater and that I don't believe in him. I'm not that bad. There are people like C-Dog and G-Baby and a lot of others that are like, no, I don't rock with Baker. I don't believe in him. And by the way, I want to defend C-Dog for just a minute. Last year, when we were trying to convince ourselves that maybe Sam Darnold could turn this around, C-Dog kept that same energy, man. And we were not mad at him, but a lot of people were like, oh, you're just being a Falcons fan or whatever. Right. And then lo and behold, that man ended up being able to say, hey, you know what? I told you so. So until Baker Mayfield starts to prove people right and wrong, every opinion is valid until we see some legit numbers.
All right, 3 more calls. Here we go. Next call.
Hey, it's the phone that makes the move. White chocolate espresso. So I got something that's been bugging me. Like, we only have 4 draft picks coming in next year. 4. Baker Mayfield doesn't come in and be mid or just do anything. Can we go 6 wins, 7 wins? Matt Rule gets fired. We go into off season. We have to, and Mayfield probably will be gone. Rule will be gone. We have to find a new head coach. They want to come to Carolina. No quarterback and only 4 draft picks. That's the reality of what we could be facing. This could be like the worst off season coming up ever for us. I want y'all to realize that it could be the worst off season for us coming up if this thing doesn't work out. But those are my thoughts. Peace.
I hear it. It's anyone's guess, man, what we're going to be. I think there's reason to be hopeful, a lot of reason to be hopeful. But I feel like there always is, man. So it's time to let the rubber meet the road and see what kind of team we actually have.
For sure. I don't care about it one bit. We just cut a 5th and a 6th round pick today. We cut the 2020 5th round pick and Kenny Robinson because he fought so hard.
Some people are making a big deal about it. Do you care about only having 4 picks? Like,
I'm just, I would if they were the 4th, 5th, and 6th and 7th picks. But as long as we got our 1st and 2nd, like I really just want to rock out with my, out for 3 picks. And anything after that is gravy. I know y'all draft heads are going crazy, but at the end of the day, it's like hard for these guys to make the roster on the deep end. You're thinking about cutting people later on down the road. Is that unless you're parlay, the only thing about having all those picks that to me is super beneficial is parlaying them into moving up, trading around. So you could say this is we'll give you 2 5ths, a 4th, and a 2nd to move up to whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just ammunition in the toolbox. I mean, yeah, it's nice to hit on those late round picks, but it's like also not likely.
Yeah.
It's not likely. And so I just want my first 3 rounds. I mean, are you really going crazy after round 4? Are you clamoring? I mean, I know you are, Cody, but I mean, think about this. Like when you watch the draft after round 3, it's like, hey, I'll just check the bottom line.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. And that's why I'm not worried too much. Like, let's say the Panthers do suck. We're still going to have that first and second round pick.
Yeah.
So if those are premium picks, again, I'll say
crazy shit. The best is the Jacksonville Jaguars 2020 draft.
Yeah.
I think it was when they had C.J. Henderson, Shenault. Like they had 8 picks in that draft. The only player on their team is undrafted running back James Robinson.
Yeah, that's
it's fucking insane, dude. They suck. Next call.
Hey guys, Chuck from Elizabeth City, aka Carolina Sports Guy.
What up, Chuck?
And I just kind of want to leave a comment. The roster, there's going to be more turnover. A few guys I wouldn't get too excited about that might have made the roster, because we're going to pick up 1 or 2 guys off this waiver wire, and then we'll end up cutting somebody else, and then we'll turn the bottom of the roster into practice squad. I really feel, regardless of the draft or where we might have missed in last year's draft, especially Deonte Brown and Travis Fletcher being picked, so we had the guy from Tennessee, what was it, Trey Smith. We didn't draft a guard that the Chiefs did. But the one thing I really feel that we missed the boat on, the one thing, I think we should have come up with the money, and we should have kept Hassan Reddick. And the Eagles got him. And I understand,
it wouldn't hurt right now with this.
We can't have everybody pick everybody, but to me, he really had a motor and a good pass rush skill, and that's the one thing I feel like we're really going to hurt this year. I feel a little bit better about linebackers. I know we need depth at certain positions, and worry about the line, and Baker stays healthy. There's all kinds of issues that come up with. Receivers look as deep as I've seen, and so does the secondary. But I really feel like we could have really used Hassan Reddick as that defensive end that we don't have. But that's just one man's humble opinion.
Man, we looked at that defensive end group, and it's not thick. In fact, it's kind of a bizarre. You know how we've all just assumed that the defense is going to be nasty?
Yeah.
Are there question marks? And maybe they are, and they might just be. I know that people wanted to point to the linebacker group because we don't know Littleton. We don't know these guys very well, who are some of these free agent acquisitions. But beside Brian Burns, what else? You're talking about Marquise Haynes. You need him to be good. You actually need YGM to be a baller. And how many times? Look, Coney Ely in his rookie year almost won the fucking Super Bowl MVP. We gave him the starting job the next year. He couldn't hack it. So I want YGM. He's looked good so far from what we've seen. I expect him to be good, but I've told you and told y'all, unless you're like just this fucking polished, badass defensive end, it's usually year 3 when they start to pierce through. Charles Johnson, i.e., beside one of the greatest in Pep. That defensive end group is nerve-wracking. Like, that's what we need to zero in. That's scary. It's scary, bro. Good call.
Yeah. I don't know if we had enough money to sign Hassan Reddick.
Maybe not him, but isn't it emblematic, though, of what the problem is?
A lot of people thought Stephon Gilmore, too. Why would you trade for him and have that veteran presence and then kind of let him go? I don't know.
I told you it's because Matt Rule and them were feeling themselves after 3 games in, and then they're 3-0. In game 4, they look pretty good, and then we lose J.C. Horn, and they're like, "Oh, we got this. We'll just plug in whatever, and we'll keep rolling." They were feeling themselves.
Yeah.
All right. Next call.
Yo, what's good, C3? It's JD. I was calling in to speak a little bit, kind of off topic, but speak a little bit on the Panthers deciding to move on from Blastoise.
Yeah.
And I heard it mentioned on PNP, and it got my brain to storming up this ideal that it could be that Deonte just wasn't that good of a guard. And then that led me to believe that a lot of people are hyping up, if I'm not mistaken, his name is Bryce Young. And this kind of goes in line with something that Cody said in the past. A lot of people are saying that these guys coming out of the draft, these young QBs, are generational talent. So if you say that you have to be worrisome of players that are playing with other NFL talent, like guys that are surefire number 1, number 2 draft picks in the NFL draft, who's to say then that a guy like Corral, if he's on the Alabama team, would look just as good, if not better, than Bryce Young?
Right.
So ultimately what I'm trying to say is, for all those people who do not think Corral has it in him to be an NFL QB, you might want to pump your brakes, because for all the hype that Bryce Young is getting, he may not be an NFL QB. Then again, he could very well be one. The talent is there, similar to Corral, though he is injured. We have to wait and see. Yeah, I just want to call in and throw it out there into the ether.
Oh, yeah.
Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, JD. Listen, so me and CK kind of talked about this earlier with Deonte Brown. None of us were there. So your opinion on Deonte Brown is as good as mine. I mean, everybody knows what I feel like. I feel like Matt Rule doesn't develop offensive players very well. And I think just like Matt Corral never got a great shot, I don't think Deonte Brown got a great one either. So if you convince yourself, well, the reason he's not a Panther anymore is because he wasn't good and his ass got cut. Well, I don't have any evidence to say you're wrong. However, you also don't have any evidence to say that I'm wrong. It could very well be a mismanagement of talent. We'll never know until we get some kind of proof either way. And yeah, when it comes to quarterbacks, next year, everybody's saying that it's going to be a great quarterback class. But the fact of the matter is, we don't know. We do not know, man. We're still wondering what kind of quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is. And yet people are already wanting to anoint Bryce Young this transcendent talent. It's like, yeah, maybe. But maybe he plays for Alabama and Nick Saban as well. And that definitely has something to do with people's evaluation on that player. So time will tell, man. But
we will not know. We will not know. We may not ever know. But we do know one thing is Damiere Byrd has more career touchdowns than Shi Smith.
You're insufferable with this.
Until
I cannot wait to rub Shi Smith in your face all year this year. Are you prepared?
Can't wait.
For
you
that?
Can rub them in my Manscaped balls, as use the Panthers code later on. That we're not going.
Oh, for sure.
CK, before we still got to do some ice up picks, but some of the things going forward is there's a lot of gamers out there in this world, and actually, you might be looking at a new gamer. And my new computer comes in that can actually handle games. But you're into gaming. Tell us what you want to talk about, what we should be talking about, maybe what Madden is talking about.
Yeah, so before the show, I now that we've got a trim down at least current 53-man roster, I decided to go ahead and run a franchise simulation for the remainder of the year and just see what, this isn't adjusting anybody's stats. This is just making sure that the rosters are right, making sure that Deshaun Watson wasn't playing the first game against us. And Madden has spoken with what they believe the Carolina Panthers season record is going to be. Obviously, if you go and do this, it's going to be different, as these are somewhat random, and this is a simulation. But some of the points that I always like to try to reference, and I'll try to reference for you here. So the first game, the Browns game, they had us losing 27-30. So a pretty close game. Yeah, close one. They had us losing to the Giants 34. I'm sorry, winning to the Giants rather 34-10. It was a blowout. The Saints beat us 20-27. Nothing crazy. The Cardinals beat us 7-35. And the 49ers, a 13-16 loss. So again, very close. The Rams 17-23, very close game, one possession. We beat the Bucks 27-24, a close game there as well. Falcons, we lost 23.
Sweeping the Bucks. Look at this.
They do. 23-31 loss to the Falcons. 31-34 loss to the Bengals. So one possession game there. Falcons 28-35 for week 10. Again, another one possession game. All of these are one possession games outside of that first that big blowout loss to the Cardinals. We lost to the Ravens 23-28, lost to the Broncos 21-26. Seahawks, we win 10-7, which is a very reminiscent of old time for them. Steelers, we lost 16-23. Lions, we win 27-24. So not a convincing victory there. And then the Buccaneers, the week 17, we can presume the Bucs are probably already locked into. So it very well might not be playing starters.
By us in week 6,
45-42 is that score, by the way. So a offensive juggernaut, slobber knocker, if you will. And then we beat the Saints last week, 28-25. So a great way to end the season, winning 4 out of the 5 at the end, but very rough first 12 games of the season. Very tough look. And for those who are really interested,
where does Matt Rule get fired in this?
That simulation isn't done.
Look at this. All right, so you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You are 2-5. Then you are 2-6, 2-7, 2-8, 2-9, 2-10.
I'll tell you what I think.
Matt Rule would get fired in week against the Falcons. You lose.
Well, it depends too how close these games are, whether we had Christian, what's the circumstances with QB play. Yes, there are certain extenuating circumstances, but some of the real questions you guys are going to have is how does Madden rank Baker Mayfield? How does his stats look for the season? He had 4,300 yards. He 22 touchdown passes, 13 interceptions, 61.
Why the fuck are we so bad then?
61% completion rate with an 88.8 rating. So not great. Very middle of the pack, which most people were already expecting. The next question mark was going to be Christian McCaffrey. So not great. They had him only playing in 14 games, so somehow he missed 3. 1,100 yards rushing for him with 10 touchdowns, which isn't a bad number, but you would expect that to be more, being Christian McCaffrey. So it didn't show me the receiving. I had to go to the receiving, and I forgot to screenshot that.
This? What is first of all, is the idea of only winning 6 games and your quarterback throwing 4,500 yards, which we haven't had a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards. I don't know when the last time was. 30. What was the touchdown number again, CK?
30? He threw for 22, so not great.
22. All right, so not a ton, but not a lot of picks. Mm-mm. And somebody brought this up, a great comment in the chat. It was Ernie. He said, man, that Cleveland Browns defense ain't that great, is it, when they're giving up, 30 points or whatever in the opener? There's no way. First of all, this is a little harsh.
Right. I don't know. I don't know.
And the other thing that sticks out to me is imagine getting swept by the Falcons, but sweeping the Bucs.
Right. Yeah, that part's pretty crazy.
Insane shit I've ever heard.
But by the way, I would imagine that if if this scenario happened, to me, it's that four game losing streak. Atlanta, Cincy, Atlanta, Baltimore. That's to me after Baltimore.
5. It's a 5-game losing streak. Broncos too. There's no way 2-10 done.
Yeah, but whoever the interim coach is,
2-7 done.
Whoever the interim coach is after that, probably gonna lose a game.
Fine. So, I'm just saying this is that what would it be? What is the ninth game in this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The Bengals makes you what? 2-7. God.
Right. And so, but here's the thing:
2-8. There's no way you make it past that Atlanta Falcons game if you're 2-8, bro.
All right.
When's our bye week? Somebody. Well, here I'll look it up. Tell me. I gotta look up our bye week.
If we don't go win 3 of our first 4 games, Matt Rule will be gone by the middle of the season. And the reason I say that is there is a murderer's row of opponents after that. I'm going to tell you now, with the whole thing with Trey Lance and Jimmy G will be the starter for the San Francisco 49ers by the week 5. Okay.
You think so?
Yes.
Man,
you don't think Trey Lance is going to be good?
Dude, Trey Lance has looked mediocre at best, and they have a win now team in the San Francisco 49ers. So there is going to be I would say, in my opinion, you're going to see Jimmy Garoppolo starting by week 5. So that is going to be a tough game. The LA Rams are the LA Rams. If Matt Stafford isn't impacted by his thrower's elbow, we're going to be in trouble with the Rams. The Bucks, the Falcons are a question mark. We don't know what to expect from them. The Bengals, we know who they are. We got the Falcons again. The Ravens are I think, potentially a really, much more improved defense this year. So I think they could be a big problem for us. The Broncos have probably, if I had to put it into words, I'd say the Broncos are the most improved roster in the entire NFL this year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're going to be good. I think we start out 2-2 at the worst. I think we beat Cleveland. We beat the Giants. We got to get some retribution for last year's Giants game, man. If we don't fucking stomp the Giants, man, I'm done. If we lose to the Giants this year, fire him right away. Fuck that. We had the worst game ever. Cody, next thing is this. Cody Lashney, guess when the bye week is? After the fucking Ravens game. So your 4-game losing streak would be spot on if we lost Falcons, Bengals, Falcons, Ravens, and then you just said, you know what, get the fuck out of here, Matt Rule. We're going to put in Ben McAdoo to face the Broncos.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, and that other part of this too is like, here's what I would like to do, and I'm open to your thoughts here. I want to go through each week, and I think we need to make a prediction individually. We need to write this down, create a spreadsheet so that we can make sure we can track how we're doing and how, the score, we can predict the score if you would like. But it wouldn't have any bearing on the end of the year, whether, win losses, because it's going to be a lot harder to kind of, tally those up.
I'd like to see, let's run this again right before the season kicks off, see if how much it changes.
I had run it the first time.
6-11. Look, I don't think 6-11 is ultimately like unheard of for this team. Like I could see a 6-11 season, but losing this way would be devastating.
Yeah. Well, all of those one possession games.
The point is nobody would give a fuck about the Panthers after October 14th at this rate.
Right.
Like even you know how hard this podcast will be when we get to that Broncos game?
Yeah, that's I'm concerned. Like when you look at that middle slate of games, this is not an easy schedule. That first 4 games you have to be a net positive. You have to be 3-1 to have a chance, because if you can make it past those middle 8 games, then you have a shot there towards the end to actually build some momentum to possibly make it into the postseason.
You got to start 2-2 at the minimum.
Yeah.
But I think we can beat the core. I think we could go 3-1. I could see that. I'm not scared of the Saints, bro. I mean, is that I've been saying their defense is getting older for 2 years, and I've been wrong. So maybe I'm wrong a third time. But at what point they got a new coach? It's like that's a winnable game. It might not be a win, but it's winnable. And you know what? Right now, is anybody truly terrified of the Cardinals? We've beat them in great moments. They are good early in the season. We wish we were playing them around week 12.
Right.
That is. But Nah, we should walk out of this 2-2 at the minimum. If we don't walk out 2-2, we should be nervous.
Yeah.
And by the way, let's all keep in mind that 6 out of these 7 first games are at home. Like, do people realize that last year we were terrible as a home team? Like, if you want to build up a home crowd advantage, like all Panther fans have wanted us to have at Bank of America Stadium for fucking ever, you have to defend your dirt. You have to win at home. Yep. And I've said this too. This season, to start our season, is a fantastic opportunity to build that. Not even just for this season, but for years to come, man. These home games to start our season, not only are they against teams that are very winnable, but you're doing it at home with a rebuilt offensive line, a new coaching staff, all these weapons, a young, fast defense. That there is no reason for the Panthers to start off with that abysmal of a win record.
You play the Saints at home, then you play the Cardinals at home, and you play the 49ers at home. You got to win 2 of those games.
If not all of them.
Well, I mean, if not all of them, we got to stomp the Giants on the road, bro. If we don't stomp the Giants, and maybe not stomp, but if we don't win against the Giants, I am Tony Dunn, mark it down. I got big, giant concerns about this team.
Oh, yeah.
We'll keep up with this. DK, man, this was wonderful. I think we don't like this graphic. We do not like this simulation. I don't think anybody, thank God Madden's not a sponsor of this show. We didn't get them no sales tonight. But we got the final segment, guys. Look, it's been a tremendous show. We are back to regular form. We are back to 3 hours, homie, and more. But we didn't hold back tonight, man. I didn't, at least. I was ready, and I'm not budging on this Baker shit. I'm ready for him to do the old. What was that? Who was that coach for the San Francisco 49ers that was on the 85 Bears with Ron Rivera? And he pulled his dick out in front of his whole team. And he was like, if y'all are going to be real men, you can put that's how I feel about this. Is like, I'm ready. Why not? Why not at this point? Because after 4 weeks, if you ain't big dicking it, you done.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, and I've been saying this forever, y'all can vouch for me. It's a prove it year. Yet again, everybody needs to have something to prove to Matt Rule, to Christian McCaffrey, to Baker Mayfield, to Shaq Thompson and Deonte Jackson. Everyone has something that they need to prove. And this is the year to prove it, man. A lot rides on this year, I believe, including Matt Rule's future tenure as the head coach of this football team.
It was Mike Singletary. Thank you, bastard son. Now go back to your room. Or not your room, some other man's room who takes and hopefully pays the bills better than I do. That's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where we have one last segment, the truest, the original. And this is where I'm telling y'all, folks, this is how you know we're the longest running Panthers podcast. We've been rocking the Ice Up segment since the Ice Up game. Like the literal game. And that was 2013. Pretty sure that was 2013 when that might have been in our first season. I think that was the first season of our show where Steve Smith and Talib Akib, or I call him Talib Kweli.
Akeem Talib.
I'm never going to get it right, and I don't care. But he told him, they asked him like what he thought about this. He said, I don't know. He didn't finish the game. Ice up, son. The best shit talker in the history, or at least in my book. If I want a guy that's going to be in my corner in a fight or in a shit talking fight, it's Smith. And that's where the Ice Up segment comes. It's where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. It's our homage to the Panther great, Steve Smith, where we tell someone to ice up, son. Cody Lack, bring us in. Ice up, son. Ice up, son. Who you guys got? You want the daddy to go first? I'll go first.
Go first, daddy.
Oh, hell yeah, man. You know what? I am mad. I am mad at one single. My ice up pick goes to our fucking owner. Man, I cannot tell you how upset I am. This is from the game this past week. They asked this billionaire motherfucker, this billionaire ass carpetbagger coming down to North Carolina. And look, my family's from up north. My mom's from Queens. Man, clearly somebody called me this Browns fan was so mad at me about what I said about Mary Cabot about coming on the back because y'all let Deshaun Watson. He was so mad. He called me a poor, greasy wannabe Corleone. And I was like, I am poor. I am part Italian. Man, really? Greasy? You fucking ethnic race. I mean, you want to call him an ethnicist. Can't call him a racist. But you fucking asshole. But here's the thing. David Tepper, I've had my picture taken with him. So you remember, like CK was the one that pointed him out to me.
Yeah.
I want to like him. I want to like him. You know what? And I don't dislike him necessarily, but I dislike him for this shit, bro. This is from the preseason game, game 3 halftime interview, talking about the toughest part of his billionaire ass job.
The most difficult or the stupidest part? The stupidest part and the most difficult is ever looking at Twitter. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be?
Well, you look at Twitter a little bit too much.
No. You know what? Sometimes
is it echoing?
Sometimes you have to read through the.
That's slightly,
but. Well, that's probably right. Sometimes though, you got to get through the people in the basement. So there's a lot of those people, by the way. There are a lot of those.
Did it go out then?
I don't want to listen to those people. I want to listen to you tell us about.
It did go out then.
Okay, he was the guy you brought in.
No, it's good. I know. We're here. It wasn't doubled.
Okay, so that helped. All right, let's do it one more time because I don't want it to double. I want this. They asked a man who's worth $16 billion what the hardest part of his job is. And he wasn't talking about juggling ownership of billion-dollar business like this and that. This is what he said the hardest part of his fucking life is.
The most difficult or the stupidest part? The stupidest part and the most difficult is ever looking at Twitter. Wouldn't that be?
Well, you look at Twitter a little bit too much.
No. You know what? Sometimes I like to get the feel of just sometimes you have to read through the.
That's code for too much.
Well, that's probably right. Sometimes though, you got to get through the people in the basement. So
there's a lot of those people, by the way.
There are a lot of those people.
I don't want to listen to those people. I want to listen to you tell us about Baker Mayfield and why he was the guy you brought in.
All right. It's like a dual ice up pick. It's like, don't worry. I got plenty to say about David Tepper at this moment. But first, whoever this sycophant bitch is on the left, catering and cucking his cock on the side. Sorry, no honor. Fuck this dude. We don't want to hear him. We don't want, man, bitches. We are the reason you guys exist.
Yeah.
Fans are the reason you fucking exist. Now, I can't say that about David Tepper because he made billions because he came in before he bought the team. But your asshole ass self, at least we could say with Steve Smith, he can talk shit because he was a fucking man on the football field. Who the fuck are you? Talking about, oh, we don't want to hear them. We want to hear you, you sycophant. Second, David Tepper. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. And man, guess what? We don't have any affiliation with the Panthers. Y'all bitch asses don't give a fuck about us anyway. So fine. You know what? I'm putting my foot down. I'm planting my Baker Mayfield flag in the middle Panther fucking stadium right now in David Tepper's fucking bedroom with his wife. Man, this is some bullshit ass stuff right here to say, oh, you're fucking the worst part, the stupidest part is dealing with these morons on the fucking Twitter. You're the fucking moron, dude. No offense. I mean, you're rich. You're rich.
No offense, but you're the fucking moron.
Actually, offense intended.
Yeah,
offense intended is no, you're rich, but that don't mean you're fucking not a moron. And this is the whole shit right here is, dude, is that like, what is it, the stupid part on Twitter? Tell me what it is. please tell me what it is that's stupid on Twitter. You mean the assholes that were like, oh, what the hell are we doing with the quarterback situation for the last 3 years? What in the hell are we doing with that? Oh, I mean, like, look, I'm tired. Look, this is out of touch. Here, this is what I would say. This is David Tepper saying, let them eat cake.
You know what's interesting to me is this dude comes from, like, he's somebody who would be considered northerner, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Are they not the most shit-talking, like, culture in the world?
Man.
Like, how can you not handle what Twitter is bringing you?
Yeah, he's from
I know.
Like, Pittsburgh has got to be the most.
Is it that bad? Is it really?
Think about it this way. Pittsburgh has been, like, blessed with one of the most consistent and storied franchises in the entire NFL. And they still find a way to bitch and complain about smallest shit, right? They haven't had a losing season under Tomlinson, right? Not at all. And this is where he comes from, and they bitch and complain about that. And he's mad about the Carolina Panthers fans who are upset because every move that has been made under David Tepper has resulted in mediocrity and quite honestly being the laughing stock of the entire NFL. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense to me. That those two things don't line up for a guy who's got brass balls on his desk to say that the stupidest thing I have to deal with is these people on Twitter. I mean,
you got a vagina is fucking.
And by the way,
no offense, ladies.
Did I not tell everybody that David Tepper was on Twitter? I told everyone this when we were bitching about Teddy Bridgewater. We were all complaining so loud about Teddy Bridgewater and that we didn't want to see this fucking guy for another season. And then, of course, that's when you started to hear about the Deshaun Watson shit, which, by the way, David Tepper was in on every bit as much as any other NFL team. So, again, man, like, this man hasn't produced a winning season as an owner in the NFL. All the Panthers do is underachieve. And you wants to get mad at us for bitching? Like, dude, we're going to continue to make you an even richer billionaire than you fucking ever were before. It's like, come on, dude. Show a little bit of class to the fans that you're supposedly here to care about and uplift and help build the fan base.
What's the group that it's not the Knights Templar? I should know this.
Freemasons,
the Freemasons, the Illuminati. This is what Panther Gal is saying. He's probably NWO. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's the thing about this is what fucking just drives me insane about this is that you're supposed to be this fucking brilliant ass businessman. And you want to know what's going to suck is when we ain't talking about you on Twitter, motherfucker.
Yeah.
We've had five win seasons. We've had five win seasons in a row, dude. Is that what it is? 5? How many is it in a row? 28, 18, 19, 20, 21, 4 in a row. 2017 was the last time we were good.
Yeah, man. It's been about
you give us 5 more seasons, and if we're as cool as Browns fans, then I'll be S-ing your, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, like you want to learn about this? You want to learn about this, David Tepper? Why don't you try doing a podcast with 2 people listen to it 10 years? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, lucky motherfucker, number one, that we give a shit enough to talk shit. That's the first thing. The second of all is this. It's like Steve Smith saying is like, come on, man. Steve Smith saying you don't even need to listen. Like, I mean, let them talk. That's what we want. Sorry, David Tepper. And the fact is this is why you're carpet ass bagging motherfucker, because you kept saying basements. We ain't got no basements in North Carolina.
Yeah, no, that's
a goddamn basement in North Carolina.
That is a perfect observation, Tony. Up north, they have basements.
Yeah.
Down south,
ain't got no fucking
basements, dude. What are you even talking
fuck out of here. Ice up, bro.
Ice up.
Sorry.
All right, so
I went hard. in the paint.
CK, do you have one? I have one. It's up to you. However you want.
Mine's. It doesn't matter either way. I don't have anything to pull up with it.
I'll let you go first. I don't have much.
Joey the Blind Panther said he puts ketchup on steak and he's an elitist.
He's not wrong, Joey.
So I don't know how many of you guys listen to the Joe Rogan podcast, but Aaron Rodgers went on there recently and talked about a couple of really cool things. But when you hear him describe how the NFL actually handled the COVID, protocols and things like that, you really start to, see the hypocrisy in all of it. There was a moment he was talking about how essentially, I'm sure you guys remember back, I think in 2021, the Panthers were like praising, everybody we were like one of the highest. We were one of the highest vaccinated places, teams in the NFL and all that stuff. Well, apparently that was such a point of emphasis that they had people come and tell them about the stats. Like, this is the vaccination rate of this, of this, and this is this, and all that stuff. And they said in one moment, they said very like confidently in their statements, they said, if you get vaccinated, you will not have any chance of contracting the virus or, giving your fellow teammates the virus. And this is after, by the way, the science has already proven that was to be false. Bullshit. And that actually it was admitted by that point that the CDC and a lot of the representatives had blatantly lied just so people would get the vaccination. Like they knew it wasn't going to completely immunize you from the from the COVID, which is, expected, right? It's just meant to, limit the
a flu shot,
right?
Doesn't work 100% the shot,
right? But they were basically telling, and when Aaron Rodgers brought it up and said, "Well, that's not true. You can still contract." They called him a conspiracy theorist to his face, and because of that, he was like, "I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I've got teammates that were vaccinated that actually
have COVID, motherfucker.
Have COVID." So what you're stating is absolutely unequivocally false. Well, I mean, I guess the point for that is to realize that, and another part of that. So basically, there's a lot of people from that interview that I would like to ice up. One of them was, I think, a New York Post or something like that. One of those reporters. After he was on the Pat McAfee show, he said like he had broken his toe. And somebody, like, he said he was injured, that he hurt his toe, and that they were just joking around saying he had COVID toe.
COVID toe.
and so this had never been reported on before. And they were reporting on it from literally this show, the Pat McAfee show. And it was literally in jest. And they actually wrote an article saying that that Aaron Rodgers had lesions on his foot and that he has COVID toe because he wasn't vaccinated. Like, and it was just that stupid shit, dude. Like, I not to go back to a time that was very dark and, that we constantly can look back on and say, just laugh hysterically at how wrong experts were about what was going on in the world. Yeah. I just want to say ice up to those people and to the NFL and anybody who looks at that and, looks back and thinks, yeah, we handled this right. I just want to say ice up.
You know what Cody Lashney calls all this shit? Virtue signaling.
Virtue signalers. That's all it is. And by the way, you know how you know it is? In that same interview, he talked about how once it got to the playoffs, oh, dude, they
didn't give a shit.
The NFL fucking did not give a damn if you were vaccinated or unvaccinated because they wanted to make sure that all the superstars were going to be available and playing come time of the playoffs, dude. We live in the world of virtue signaling, where you must show people online, you must demonstrate your moral character and the amount of standards that you have in your life for everyone to see, or else you're a conspiracy.
That's why I'm on Baker's side and even this reporter side on this, is because I think some people are, but like, it's like, I want to say this just about the, I'm not anti-science, Like, I hate when people say, first of all, is I don't need to dig my feet into any position too much when I don't really know anything on these things. My one thing about this vaccination joint is that I've put worse things into my body than this vaccine. I promise you that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I mean, I've done worse shit in my life. But at the end of the day, what's bizarre about this and what's fucking Looney Tunes to me is like if you go and look at what the CDC guidelines are right now for COVID, like it's just like, oh, well, you know what? We're so tired of COVID. Is like you don't got to quarantine for 2 weeks no more.
And by the way, now people are mad. People are mad at the CDC now
for being too fucking.
The CDC is too lax. So now people are mad at the fucking CDC. Well, I thought that you needed to follow what the CDC said. Dude,
I don't like the group think. Cody Lashley has been pushing this on the show since he got in here. Is avoid the group think, but have a brain for your fucking self. And I agree with that. The other thing is like, I agree with a lot of these things. Like in theory, they do work, right? Like vaccinations do, like, I like medicine. I like penicillin. Right. I like shit like this. So I'm not anti, but here's the thing is don't be like, oh, I wear a mask for 4 minutes. So I'm safe. But then the other 88 minutes or whatever, I don't wear it around my family. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, optics.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're really going to do it, you really do it. And man, if you were riding down, who was it? Was it you, Cody, that said the picture of the dude with a motorcycle wearing no helmet and wearing the mask?
Maybe, I don't know.
No, somebody said, oh no, it was my boy at work. He said this. And someone showed him a picture. It was a guy that was riding a real like a motorcycle with no fucking helmet on, but he was wearing a mask. And it was like, he's safe as fuck. I don't know what you should think. I don't give a fuck what you should think, but I do. Stop shaming people.
Yeah,
just because they don't agree.
Yes, it's so. Final two things. Joe Rogan, whether you love that guy or hate that guy, his podcast is the fucking best. And like the fact that the fact that in 1 week's time he had Mark Zuckerberg, who essentially admitted to the world that the FBI came to him and it was like, hey, chill with all the Hunter Biden shit, please. It's probably Russia, wink, wink. But then on top of that, then to have Aaron Rodgers the very next day, like, dude.
And then they're like smoking weed the whole time.
And like, literally some of the biggest moments now in pop culture, I feel like end up being headlines on the Joe Rogan podcast. Like the free flow of ideas. You don't have to like Joe. I certainly don't agree with Joe on everything that he says, but to deny that having a platform like that.
He's a great interviewer, dude.
Yeah, and he's a fascinated individual. So when he interviews people, you can tell that he's really interested. Yeah, he really wants to learn,
and he's willing to change his opinion.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about Joe.
He's a cool dude. I'm gonna go ahead and say this: Joe Rogan is cool.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I think is a parallel to what we're doing here. I think we as a society are getting tired of this. Every 5 minutes, it has to be a new so these long form conversations and podcasts where we might hammer the same conversation or same detail for 15 to 20 minutes, right? That's fine. Like, I think people are craving that because we've been in such a society of immediate. Like I had heard somebody describe it this way. Like, we go from either TikTok or the news or something from laughing hysterically to being, extremely angry to crying, to being just super depressed in a matter of 10 minutes, either because we're watching videos on TikTok that are very one will be very happy, one will be sad. Our bodies are not meant for that type of swing, right? So I think there's a starvation for the type of content that Joe Rogan puts out, or even ourselves, that you're not getting from, news or from, many other. That's why podcasts have been kicking off so much. I know they've been dying off a little bit, but it's because people aren't just interested in the surface anymore of people. They want to get to know people. They want to see what's really what drives them. And a 3-hour conversation with Mark Zuckerberg, as boring as that motherfucker was, by the way, that was not like that. I thought that was going to be way more interesting. I learned a lot of stuff. Don't get me wrong, but that was boring. But like just being able to learn more about these people and go in depth for their beliefs, but also where they to see that these motherfuckers are human, except for Mark Zuckerberg, who I still firmly believe is an alien.
Really a fucking robot. Also, Rocket 81, he said Joe went on Theo Vaughn's podcast. It was 2 hours ago. I
those two are fucking
Theo Vaughn, bro.
I swear that Theo Vaughn is better in conversation. I didn't love his stand-up. Like, it was just his stand-up, but his conversation and delivery is dope.
I find that true for a lot of comedians, but Theo Vaughn, when you listen to him on podcasts, the shit that he says out of left field.
That's what I'm saying. He's better in that atmosphere. His actual stand-up was meh.
It's sort of like the Norm Macdonald type of thing. Like, you really have to enjoy that type of.
I love him, man. I just love him in I think he just slays in those natural moments more than he did in the orchestrated one. So I'm gonna go listen to that. All right, Cody, get us with the last one, and let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, man. That's how you know people like long form podcasting.
They're still here. 147 people.
Yeah, we got almost 150 people, and we're almost 3 hours and 30 minutes in. Shout out to Panthers Culture. If you follow him on Twitter, he's a great Panther follow.
I muted him a long time ago.
He is the guy that was responsible for the Keep Cam in Carolina billboards that came out. So a very funny interaction happened. He put, "How has Colin Thompson survived this long?" And he put that out on Twitter. Well, what he probably didn't expect was that Colin Thompson would respond to him in person on Twitter and says, oxygen, food, and water, the occasional beer as well. And then put his, I guess, Cape May Brewing Company out. I guess that's in New Jersey.
Or maybe he knows somebody.
He might.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of funny. How often does that really ever happen?
It gets better.
You're throwing a little bit of shade online, and then the player ends up catching you, man. So to everyone who thinks that players don't see the shit that you say on Twitter, ice up, son, because
Panther Culture came back after him when he got cut. Like, I know. I muted Panther Culture for some reason a long time ago. I couldn't take it anymore. Anyway, they do listen to us, Cody. And I hope fucking David Tepper heard me. And I'm not really trying to just insult you, but like we feel insulted.
Yeah, we feel that he insulted us.
Like, and you have $1 bazillion, motherfucker.
Yeah.
We don't have $1 bazillion, but we do have the best fans in YouTube.
The best.
We do. They're wonderful, man. We got some cool subscribers. We got some members of the inner circle. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for the likes, the subscribes. Thank you for the calls. We'll be back with y'all on Friday for the Friday free for all. And coming up, man, the season's gonna be coming out. I'm gonna be debating Cody. We're gonna be doing the beat check. We got a lot of stuff coming up. Once I get this computer, I'm gonna start battling CK on some games soon, man. We're gonna be having fun up here. I've had so much fun hanging out with y'all tonight. I know I was salty and feeling it, and that's what, man. I'm ready. Let's go. Baker got me. Baker put some fucking juice in my veins, man. For this year,
man, he put some juice in a lot of veins, man. He put some juice in the veins of the podcast, of the Panther fandom. I hope he delivers, man. I hope he delivers. I'm on Team Baker if he's able to do this, man.
How?
Right. Go ahead, CK.
I was going to say, just as an exit question, on a scale of 1 to 10, where did you start with Baker being a Panther, and where are you now, Cody?
I mean, okay, if I started at a 0,
damn. Damn.
Fucking dick.
No, I said, I mean, again.
Can you give him a 1? He was an upgrade.
Can I finish my sentence, please?
0, bitch.
Good Lord. Maybe let me get to the next part, okay? I was not excited. You all know that. So if I started at a 0, I would say now. I'll say now I'm at a 5.
I was about to say
that's not
bad,
bad,
1. If he says a 1, I am gonna fucking kick him off.
No, you know what? I was about to say 4. And I'm like, nah, you know what? If he actually did say that shit, which I do believe there was some variation of that set. Yeah, fuck it. I'll give him a 5. I'll give him a 5. I like that.
Hell yeah. All right.
C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Call in, sub up, follow. You see it all over the screen. Check it in the show notes. Cody Lack, tell them how.
Find me on Twitter at Cody Lack, CODYLAC. Find my written work at drafttech.com, where I'm the analyst for the Carolina Panthers. And keep it tuned to the C3 podcast, man. Consider joining. We're going to have more badges, more emojis. We're working on that as we speak. We're going to be doing giveaways. We got so many things coming down the pike, y'all. We have another thing that we haven't even announced to y'all yet. And that's going to be coming soon, man.
Big. It's the biggest thing. It's our biggest thing.
So just to leave y'all with a little teaser, the next thing that we announced for y'all is going to be something that we're all going to be able to participate in every Tuesday and Friday.
And make money.
And make some money off of it.
For us.
For us,
y'all.
For y'all, the listener, are going to have some opportunities to make some cash. Man, we got some cool shit coming down the pike for these boys, y'all.
Yeah.
CK.
You can find me at Codizzle Allen on most social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, all those locations. Hit me up on Twitter. I'm trying to grow that one out a little bit more now. I think I have a little bit more of a focus on that, but I am planning on, I don't know, I'm going to talk to Tony about it, but we still plan on doing the Madden simulation. I'm almost of the mind that I might want to try and do that as a live stream on the channel, potentially. Tony might have better insight on that. And then we can watch the game together and actually have some live reactions as a group and see what happens.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
go to Instagram and follow my wife and my kid's dog page. We just got a new puppy and they're going to do an Instagram. It's called Maverick, the top golden doodle. And I convinced my daughter to name our dog Maverick.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's perfect.
Because he is the leading star in this new movie called Top Gun. Cody, last me. Take us the fuck out of here.
C3 Nation, until next time, you already know what to do. Keep pounding.